What's going on, guys? Can you hear me? Oh, make sure you guys
I
can.
can hear you.
Yeah. All right, there we go. I never know if it sometimes I'll be talking cool. So we're gonna get everyone kind of loaded in right now. Give it a little bit of a breather, let people kind of load on. And tonight, you guys were talking about deal sourcing. So it's part of one of the keys of our business is finding the right deal that you can execute on. So we're gonna touch briefly on that tonight. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut until I get people in, though. I start getting too excited. How's everyone doing? Who's who? As people are loading in, who's bought a deal recently? I bought a lot in the last, I would say 30 days. Who has been out finding deals and closing? I know we got a lot of active peoples. Look at that. Shannon says me. What'd you get, Shannon? Share. What'd you get?
Flipping a dadu build in View Ridge
Where'd you find it from?
off market.
Off market. Was it direct to seller or
Yep,
network?
direct seller. Yep. It's
Okay.
actually around the corner from my primary.
Oh, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Work in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Well, good for you. So you got it. Did you just go knock on the door?
No, so I actually know one of my kids is friends with their neighbor and they know what we do and they said, "Hey, I heard my neighbor's looking to sell." And they connected us and then I chatted with the sellers and it worked out.
So just marketing what you're doing and telling people what you're doing got you the deal.
Yep,
You know
correct.
what? I didn't even put that on my little slideshow today. So that's a great point. Yeah, letting people know what is going
Yeah.
on. So that, I mean, that do you think they got it just from because you guys are on social media, you have your podcast? Why do you think they knew, or just because you just hang out and tell everybody in the neighborhood?
I think it's both. I think they follow me on Instagram, but also they just know that we're doing deals. I'm sure it was just the TV show. They saw me on there. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, there you go. So do I get half then?
Yes, you can have that. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
You can have the dadu and I'll keep the house.
I'm kind of more of a flipper guy though, so I like the house.
Okay, fine. You can have the house. I'll
All
take the
right,
dadu.
done. Locked in. Who else has been finding? Who else has bought a deal as people are loading on? Give us the rundown. Alex, I know you bought a deal.
Me?
Yeah?
Yeah,
How'd you
it's
find it?
going.
How'd you find it?
Um, through a wholesaler. So Brad in the group shared it. A wholesaler he knew shared it with me. That's how I initially found it.
So you got it through networking with the group, and
Yeah,
then they were plugged in with a wholesaler, and they put the right deal in front of you.
yeah, exactly.
Love that. You guys make
Yep.
sure you are reaching out and meeting people in our group. You guys, Alex and Brad are not in the same market, and Brad helped her get a deal, right? So just by talking and communicating and showing what you need. So that is awesome. More people are loading in. Who else got a deal? As people are loading in, I want to hear how you guys got them from. I know there's a lot of buyers in here. Jason, you just got a deal that me and you were going to do. How'd you find your deal?
Um, actually, this deal came from my website.
Okay. So
So they
direct to
just
seller.
direct to seller. So they entered the information and I called them up, went on the appointment, and then I brought you and get your thoughts and then we lock it up.
You know what? Let's talk about this for a second because we did this a little backwards, right? As people are kind of coming on. So Jason's flipping some houses. He's doing some wholesaling, can create some of his own deal flow. And so you did it direct to seller by marketing your website, SEO, search option. Um,
Yep.
and then this deal was a little tricky to get done, right? And so give people a rundown, like a quick synopsis of like how do you think you would have inked that deal otherwise? Because it was definitely a trickier one to get in. Like you ran into some interference, they gave you a no, and then so give people a rundown, and then also how much you're going to get paid on this too. I think that's important to know.
Yeah. So I started working on this deal in the middle of January. That's when they interned the information on my website, and I set an appointment the following week to go and see it. and they had a couple other interested party looking to buy their properties as well. Um, so, you know, a week following the appointment, I went to the Investor 101 um, event, and James happened to be there. I was like, "Hey, James, I actually came across this lead. Is this something you would be interested in?" And we ran the numbers, and it turns out to be a deal, to be a pretty decent deal in a good area. So I presented the offer to the seller, and when I present the offer, there's one other person there who happens to be their best friend, who's also a real estate agent. So I was like, oh shit, here we go. Um, so at the time, I was really trying to get this deal inked because there was 80,000 for me in the deal. I might have just pushed them a little too hard, and also the agent was in the way as well. And they ended up was like, look, we're just gonna list on the market. We're not gonna sell it to you. This is too much. And we're just about to go on vacation to Hawaii. We just want to relax. So I thought that deal was over. And James told me to circle back with him 2 months later and just send them a soft email, which is exactly what I did. And I happened to just caught them at the right time because they already had a listing date set to put on the market. But in their email response back to me from my follow-up, they said having me as a buyer would be very, very make it very easy for them. And the things they wanted was they don't want Andor signs on there, and they want proof of funds. Um, so if I didn't have James or the end buyer in line already, I wouldn't have got this deal done because I couldn't sign it because they did not want the Andor signs on there.
No, and they want to see money in the bank, and they wanted it. They didn't want to be jerked around. And you guys, this is important for what we're going to talk about tonight, right? Because it's all about building relationships here. This is not just signing up for a wholesaling list and just going, hey, send me deals when you get them. That's not how the deals get done. It's about connecting with people and just talking about deals. So me and Jason were talking about this, and I said, hey, look, if you ever have something and you need me to give you, because Jason hadn't even given him a number to the seller yet when we looked at this, and I gave him a number that I thought I could pay for the property. He then knew what he could do to go negotiate that deal down. And, by me as an investor going, hey, Jason, what do you need to help get this deal done? Not just bring me the deals, like what do you need help with? He had the number so he could negotiate his terms. He got rejected because they didn't want to see a wholesaling company. They didn't want to see and/or signs. They wanted to see a real buyer putting up real earnest money with a real signature, or they were not selling it because the broker played interference. By me and Jason building that relationship, it allowed him to get the deal done because I'm not just a buyer going, send me the contract. I'm going, hey, how can we work together on this to get him paid and get me paid? And by doing that, he called me with that information. I said, well, we can solve that real quick. Put my name on it. I'll pay you your assignment fee with the spread. And then once we do that, then he wrote it directly in my name with a buyer fee agreement, roughly, to where he knows he's getting paid. And I could show him my proof of funds. They got the deal done. And so that's why you're going to hear a lot about relationship talking about tonight. It's all about the relationship, not how many people you meet. It's about the quality of people that you're meeting. And when I met Jason and he was telling me about his business, I was like, oh, this is someone I can try to help and we can help each other, not just he's not going to call me and go, hey, how much will you pay for this? And so that's why for wholesalers, brokers in our group, the flippers in our group, you have to build the relationship. And if you build the relationship, you will do 10x more deals. I can promise you that. And so that is what we are talking about tonight. I see one question, and then we're going to jump right into it. It's going to be brief, and then I'm going to open it up for questions because I want to know where you guys are having bottlenecks and how do we solve that. And also looking at deals a little bit differently to get more deals done. So Alicia asked, what are and/or assigns? Real quick on that. So you guys, and/or assigns is when I'm submitting an offer. Let's say I'm giving Jason an offer on his house. and I'm going, hey, James Dane and or assigns on the contract, that allows me to assign the agreement out to a different entity or a different buyer. Now, the reason why sellers will push back on that, or brokers will, is because they go, well, why do you need that? Are you not the real buyer? And a wholesaler wants to position themselves as the cash buyer, right? That's how their marketing set up. And so it allows you to transfer the contract to another buyer, collect a fee as an assignment fee, and it allows you to sell that contract. Alicia, I break this down a lot in wholesaling, so project wholesale. If you are into wholesaling, and you should learn this anyways. I talk about this in Project Flip too, because we want to know what that contract is. And so if you're a flipper, someone's going to assign you a deal and you want to know what's inside of those contents. All right, so you guys, I'm going to get this going real quick, and then we are going to open it up for questions. Let me get this going. And you guys, I do a ton of education through our program on deal sourcing. So I didn't go too granular tonight. I'm going to point you in the right direction, but it's more about the concept of getting more deals done. Um, you guys, I do a lot of deals. And the reason I do it isn't because I buy a lot of stuff. It's kind of the opposite, right? Like many wholesalers are trying to sell to the one-off new investor because they can charge more. And so the reason we do a lot of deals is because we have a lot of different funnels going on, but at the same time, it's all about building those relationships with those key people. And that's what we're really going to be focusing on tonight. Um, the thing about deal findings, as you guys are getting there, it can get frustrating. I hear this all the time, like, oh, I don't get enough deals. They're all crap sent to me, and they're all crap sent to me. You guys, that is not crap. That's just you getting to the next deal. I don't buy everything that comes my way. I'm usually looking at least 20 to 30 opportunities and taking a hard look at them before I even close on one. And so in this business, it is all about the swings you take and the amount of deals you can look at. And the more swings you take, the more opportunities that you're going to have to learn from and grow. And that's what it's about. Like, okay, I didn't get that deal. Why? Do I need to refine my process? Is it not the right deal for me? Was it just not a deal alone? If I'm going and I'm writing 40 offers on properties and I get zero, that's not great. That means there's something wrong with how I'm looking at the deal or my resources. Maybe my contractor's too expensive. Maybe my money's too expensive. I need to adjust my business. So it's not all about the deal flow. It's about what's going on internally in your own business to solve problems and create more opportunities. You guys, most of the reason why we do a lot of deals isn't because we're, again, big buyers. It's because we're putting the right plan and we're building resources around the opportunities that we're seeing. Most of the deals I buy are deals that nobody wants. They really don't. I'm buying them on market. They're dilapidated. Nobody wants them. And because we put the right plan together allows us more deal flow. So building the funnels is what we need to do, right? The more opportunities we have coming in from all different sides, the more opportunity you're going to have to execute and get your plan going and get moving forward. In all of our education, I talk about a few different sources that are going to be your keys to start working with and building. The first funnel that you guys want to, that I chose, build it whatever which way you want, but the way that I focus on first, which is the most important to me, is the brokers. Having a broker that is not just going to send me listings on the MLS, because you guys, there is deals on the MLS if they're looked at correctly. That core team member, you have to have a broker that is a ninja on the MLS. If someone puts you on a drip for just MLS searches, delete it, block their thing. That's not what we're asking for. And so the brokers that work with me for on-market deals, they have to send it to me in a certain way. They are pulling properties, they're comping the properties, they're sending them to me, and they are on everything that's coming on market, and they're constantly on it. This is not a hobby for them, or they're not waiting for the email drip for them to sell a property. You have to find the right broker that will track down on market properties for you. This is not the discount broker that's going to give you a refund, that's going to work for a disc. You want to find the person in your market that's actively doing a lot of deals on market. That is 50% of the deals I buy are straight on market. And honestly, the best deals I buy are typically on market. And so you have to build that broker that will look at everything on market. Now there's the broker network that are not for the ones coming on market, but they're the brokers that work in specific types of asset classes and sellers and neighborhood specifics. So where I get a ton of deal flow from is I'm constantly talking to brokers that sell probate properties and estate properties. Typically, a broker that sells a probate targets probates as part of their business. So they know a lot of deals that are going on where people inherited them. They've already approached them. They've already talked to them about pricing. And they have sellers that are constantly cleaning out their properties, getting them ready for market. And it's advantageous for them to bring an offer to the seller before they trash it all out and get it ready for market. Those brokers, you guys, are really key. I check in with those brokers all the time. Hey, do you have anything coming up that your sellers don't want to bring to market? You know, because sometimes they do just want to bring it to market, and that's fine. But we're looking for the sellers that don't. In by having a buyer in their back pocket that will pay cash, buy as is, that enhances that estate broker's property as well, or business as well. It gives them extra ammo to go get that listing because now they have a buyer in their pocket that will buy as is, where is. I buy a ton of stuff from brokers that sell estates. Bankruptcy brokers. I get a lot of deal flow. I just got one yesterday. Brokers that work with trustees and receivers. Typically, receivers work with a couple different brokers. They like working with one entity, one person, because they know the process and the system. Those brokers are constantly talking to these sellers about what inventory they have coming up, and they have honestly a lot of say in whether you're going to get the deal or not because they don't want buyers flaking out on them, and they want dependable offers because it can be a longer process. And so any broker that you see that's selling short sales or receiver sales, you want to reach out and start building that relationship with them, that you are a flipper in the area, you can be represented by them, and you're looking for this kind of product or anything that they'll look at, and you'll make sure that it's a seamless sale for them. Back in 2010 to 14, I had a bunch of short sale brokers that would take my offer over 99% of other people's, even if it was lower, because they knew I would close. Those same relationships have been, I still have those relationships today. And I get deals out of those people today. And so who was that common thread in the broker community selling the same thing? And then your seasoned neighborhood specialists, you guys, those are some of the best deal finding brokers that you can network with. Brokers that sell, if you see a consistent name in one neighborhood that they're a specialist in, they typically know family members, they're getting referred people that are transitioning. They are great for really reaching out, building that relationship, explaining who you are and why you're bringing them value. Most of these seasoned neighborhood specialists are selling fixed up or nice houses. And when they get something that's a little beat up, they don't really have the clientele and they want the client to clean out the property, get it ready for market because they're going to market and sell the thing. By you networking, you're giving them value and going, hey, look, I can buy these things as is, where is, and I can let your seller transition out in a time frame that works for them. That gives them a competitive edge. And so if you see a consistent name in a specific neighborhood, reach out to them, introduce yourself, say who you are, what your business is, and then stay in front of them and find out if they have anything coming up that you can get them an offer on. Wholesalers. The more wholesalers you guys talk to, the better. And it's going to hurt your head a little bit, guys, because sometimes they're just going to they're going to spam you on regular. The wholesalers that you want to focus on, though, not the wholesalers that are grabbing someone else's deal, emailing it out, emailing out, emailing out. That is not direct to the source. You're just going to be on some sort of daisy chain. And a daisy chain is when someone's taking someone else's deal, marketing it, selling it again, then marketing it, and then selling it again. You want to find the ones that are actively working. You guys, my favorite wholesalers to work with are the ones I've been working with for 20 years, but also the brand new ones. Because as flippers, you guys, we can add a lot of value to a wholesaler. Like Jason, like what we were just talking about. If he didn't have the cash in the account to show he could close, they were not signing his offer and he would not have made an assignment fee. And so by reaching out to guys like Jason, say, hey, what do you need to help grow your business? How can I help you? How can I get you underwriting and offer terms before you go out to your appointment? The more assisting you can do with these wholesalers, the more loyal they are and the more deal flow that you can get done because they know their numbers. And so, some of the best wholesalers that you guys can find are the brand new ones, you guys looking for their deal, and you can help them give them offer prices. You can help them structure terms, and it will automatically feed you that deal because you make their lives a lot easier and they can focus on what they are good at, which is finding off-market sellers and negotiating those contracts. Because you're gonna, as you reach out and you start building these wholesalers out, you're gonna get a lot of spam, and that's okay. I would say 90% of the deals from wholesalers that come to me are not deals I would buy. And again, that's okay. I need to look through all those and put realistic eyes on every one of those deals to get to the deal that is the diamond in the rough. You guys, I've had wholesalers bring me. There's one guy I bought a deal from about. Oh no, just recently I bought a deal 60 days ago from a wholesaler. Great person. He has probably sent me 50 properties over the last 18 months that were just not buys, and he was trying to figure out his business. But because I always gave him the time, he finally got me a deal, which is going to be a hit of a deal. And so the 50 no's got me to the 51st deal, which is something that we're going to be able to clear over 100 grand on for a profit. And so the 50 bad deals you got to look at, that's not a waste of time. It just gets you closer to that next deal. Direct to seller. You guys, as you start building out your business, people want to start marketing and finding more deals. They don't want to pay assignment fees. They want to be direct to the source, negotiate their own terms. There is nothing wrong with that, but it is a business in itself. And so, direct to seller is a great way to go find deal flow. But like what Shannon just said, is sometimes you don't even have to spend a bunch of money on marketing, run a business. It's about promoting what you're doing and telling people about what you're doing and getting referrals from your neighbor, from your cousin's neighbor, and letting people know, and you can get deal flow that way. Other things, you guys, for direct to seller is it's a good way, but you have to you eat up a lot of time doing direct seller. Like we have a business in itself that does direct seller all day long. That's ran by 5 different people full time. They're just going after deal flow. And so direct seller can be a great thing, but it's a matter of how much time and effort you want to put into it. And then another way that you guys can look at deal flow, depending on your market, is public auctions, the trustee sales. So you guys, foreclosures are increasing. There is, I think I just read that there was 20% more auction sales in the last 30 days, which is a big jump. But the problem is it's just not very many were selling in general. So it's not that many houses. But that's another way that you guys can go out there and look for deal flow is by looking at what's scheduled for auction. There's auction companies that will bid for you down there. From my experience, I've gotten better deals on market, direct to seller, and through wholesalers than at the auction. But you can go and get more avenue depending on what you're looking for and what your buy box is. So sourcing your deal finders, how do you find these people? Title reps, you guys, you hear me talk about this in every course. You need to find a title rep that specializes in working with investors. If they work with investors, they're going to know wholesalers that investors are buying deals from. They're going to know the brokers that are doing a lot of different deals with investors because that's who they monitor. Your title rep is a great referral source for you. Your local meetup groups. Go to them, guys. There's nothing wrong with going to them. You're going to meet all sorts of different types of people. You're going to expand your network, and that's where wholesalers, brokers, and contractors are. I went to local meetup groups for the first 12 years of my career. It was like one Thursday a month I was there meeting people. I don't go to as many as now, but it's, these are essential things that you got to do to start building out that network. Investor networking, get referrals from people, talk to them, talk to our community, talk to whoever's doing deals. Who's the broker that you're working with? Why do you like them? We get a lot of referrals as brokers ourselves because they're like, hey, call James and his team. They're great. They go after it. They're going to find you a deal. Talk to other investors, what's working for them, what's not working for them, and get those referrals that way. Brokers, as you're looking at market research and you're looking at comps and you're looking at what's on the MLS or what's on Zillow, your title rep can help find you this person too. Brokers that you see selling a lot of listed flip properties are people you need to call and talk to. They typically get a lot of these listings because they're sourcing the deal through a wholesaler, direct to seller, or on market. They're getting the list backs on those things. If they have a lot of listings, that means they source a lot of deals. And so target those brokers, call them, introduce yourself, and start chatting with them. And then there's the direct to seller, which are call centers, door knocking, and lead purchasing. Now, you guys, deal sourcing is a huge, I could talk about this for 7, 8 hours tonight and probably go into the next night and do the same thing. And so the things I wanted to highlight before we kind of open this up, I just want to have like kind of a general talk about this and have you guys bring your questions in. Your 3 courses that you guys really want to focus on for deal sourcing. First, project flip. We cover in, I think it's week 3, sourcing wholesalers, how to interview them, how to talk to them, how to qualify them to make sure that they're good people and that they're selling the deal actually. Talks about direct to seller as a flipper. How can you direct to seller marketing? Spend as little as much time, but what are ways that you can get in more direct to seller leads? Broker networking, that's covered in Project Flip. Project Wholesale, same thing. Wholesaler networking, direct to seller, broker networking. And then with Project Broker, the same thing. So you have about 4 to 5 hours of training on just direct to seller. If you have not watched these courses, you guys, please watch them. We spent a lot of time and energy and effort putting out this education and how to qualify, how to vet these sourcers, how to look at the deals, how to respond to them. This is all training that is going to help you guys get into your next deal. And so I want you guys to make sure that you're going back, look at Project Flip, look at Project Wholesale, look at Project Broker, go through the deal sourcing section. They have 3 different angles of how I'm looking at them. And it's gonna open up your mind and really kind of direct you specifically on what to do to build those relationships. Now, to kind of close out, and I'm going to open up for questions, you guys, communication is key to finding the deals. This is not about reaching out to as many people as you can saying, I'm James, I need a deal. Will you send me a great deal? No one cares about that. Like, as a broker and a person that sources deals for people, I want to get to know this buyer. What are they actually looking for? Am I going to waste my time by sending them a deal that they're not even going to buy anyways? Maybe they need to buy something else. The more relationships that you establish with your broker and your wholesaler, the more deal flow you're going to get. Get to know the people. This is not a transaction. If you treat people like a transaction, you're going to be treated like a transaction and you're not going to get the deal flow. You want to get to know people. Are they the same type of caliber person? Do they have the same morals? Do they have the same principles? Then start working together. And the more you make that connection, you guys, people sell to who they like. You have to build that connection. The buyer that stays in communication wins. And, I've heard this a lot in our group and just investors in general. They're like, well, I told this person I wanted a deal and I didn't really hear back from them. Well, then call them again. If they're providing deals and they are sourcing, you guys, salespeople are salespeople. The first person in front of them, if I call Jason, the reason me and Jason just got a deal done is because I was in front of him and I helped him get there with the structure to help get the deal done. But the person that's in front saying, hey, I'm still looking for something. What do you got? What do you got? How can I help you get a deal? That's who gets the next deal. It's all timing. And I could tell you there's a lot of people I bought deals from. And if I don't check in with them, then the deals go elsewhere. I'm like, shit, I should have called and checked in with them. And they're like, sorry, man, I forgot I had this other person, so I sold it over this way, right? And they have a right to do so. It's their business. But stay in front of people, you guys, especially not the people that are going to waste your time or don't really care about you. If they're giving you some time back, build that connection and then just check in with them. Send them a text once every month, once every 2 weeks. Hey, it's James. Just want to let you know I'm still looking. Let me know what you got. If you need me to get you any offers beforehand, or numbers beforehand, I can help you with that. If you need me to put up any proof of whatever you need to do to get your next deal done, let me know and I'll help, right? But the more you stay in front is how you get the deals. Don't wait to be sold something, be proactive. Reach out, talk to people. And one of the best things that you guys can do is just be kind and not negative. Like when someone sends me a deal that doesn't make any sense in the world, I don't go, well, this is a crap deal. I need it cheaper. Who wants to call that person back ever? I don't like, because maybe they don't know whether it was a good deal or not. And so any deal that's sent to me, I'm always very thankful, saying, hey, thank you for the opportunity. Unfortunately, this doesn't work for me. I'm going to need it at this price because of A, B, and C. If something changes, let me know. But again, I really appreciate you sending me this opportunity. That little act of kindness, you guys, goes tenfold. And I can tell you this because back at like 7, 8 years ago, when people send me deals, I'm like, this ain't a deal. It's not a deal. Like, and I just move on, move on. And then I had a client that came into town that I helped relocate it up. And I sent them every opportunity for 2 years. And the reason I did is they were so kind and thankful. Even if we didn't do the deal, it was like, all right, next one, no worries. And then we go off in another channel. And I really learned something from that big company. I was like, man, they are so, like the underwriters for this company were just so nice that it made me want to call them and go, hey, would this work for you? Just check in with you. No, no big deal. We'll move it over here. And, kill them with kindness does work, you guys. It does matter. And then don't give up on a source. If they're shitty people, guys, and they're treating you not like, I mean, there's definitely wholesalers I won't work with, not because they treat me like a transaction, like how much will you pay? That's just not the world I want to live in. I want to build relationships. But there has been countless amounts of deals that I've done with people where I've told them no probably 50 times and then just gave them some energy back. Like, hey, like, you tied it up for this. Just, I think your rehab numbers might be a little bit off. I can't get there. Let me know if you want me to get you a number first, especially because these people want to get deals done, brokers, wholesalers. They're not always going to be a deal. And they're not always going to, a deal for me might be different for Ron Mora down there. It's just, we all have different expectations of what a deal is and what our resources are and what our capital is. Never give up on someone because if they keep trying and trying and trying, they will ink a deal. You guys, this is a statistic thing. Like if you put in enough attempts, you will get a deal done. And again, that deal I just bought 30, 45 days ago, we've been working with this person for almost 2 years. And in 2 years of trying to work with him on deals and the leads he brought in, we almost got one done one time, which was a very crappy deal on land, and then it fell apart. And by putting in that effort, I'm gonna make 100 grand on this house. And so don't give up on a deal source if they have character, they're good people, and just be helpful. Just because the deal's not a deal today, it can be a deal tomorrow. So what I'm going to do now, you guys, I just wanted to open up for questions. Again, go back to the education, you guys. I do a lot of, especially direct to seller. If you want to learn about that, Project Wholesale, we go through all the avenues, what to do, who to talk to, how to build those channels. Project Flip, a lot of the networking, building those things I talked about tonight, even I reference. So, get into the training. But what I want to do tonight is who's having a problem with deal sourcing? What are your bottlenecks? What are you running into? Are people not taking you serious? Are people not calling you with deals? Why aren't you getting a deal done? And then again, just like always, you can ask any other question that you're kind of jammed up on. So I'm going to kind of open this up. I'm going to start because I see a couple questions right now. Okay, Drew says, I just went on an off market to get under contract and they already signed a listing agreement with another agent. can they just cancel with the other agent so I can buy it directly from him without having to pay other brokerage? Yes, they should be able to. I would say you guys, my thing on that is it's a bad look on a broker if they haven't even listed the property yet and they're forcing the seller to sell a property. Typically, all contracts, now it does matter per state. California's a little bit different, but in most states, you can cancel the contract. And what it states in there, they can cancel it. And then if that broker ended up showing, let's say that broker knew you, Drew, and they're the one that gave you the address and you bought that property, they would be entitled to a commission. So what they need to do, and depending on who the broker is, most brokers are cool if they're a little slimy and they're trying to bully them. I would just say, hey, you know what? We had a change in plans. We're not going to be selling. We need to cancel the listing agreement.
Yeah, because it was one of the guys on my team. I literally bought these lists, which, anybody can. It's reminder media. It's like highly likely ones. The numbers are crap, but I just went on forewarned, got the right number. Dude was like, I can't believe you're calling. I literally was just about to list my house. We got the stagers coming Thursday, but I need to sell this in my Texas house. What would the cash offer be? So I went and looked at it. I mean, ARV after some paint, landscaping, it could be a quick flip is like 1.3. So I threw it out to him. I was like, I kind of used like kind of playing it backwards of like, okay, if you're at 1.2 is what you want. Once you add the 6% commission plus the staging, plus your paint, getting the place ready, I mean, you're easily spending 100 grand, so now you're at 1.1. So, I pitched him at $1 million and I had the listing agreement already signed. But there's no staging, no photos, nothing's been done.
Yeah, the only thing I would say on that deal too is I would go, oh, no kidding. And he's like, and I'd say, what were you going to list for?
Yeah.
Because you never know. They could be listing at $899 and go, well, I got good news for you. Instead of offering them the mill, then you're going, I could pay you $899 with no broker fees.
Yeah, he told me 1.2 was what.
Okay, got it. Okay, so you got that out of him. I just want to, it's a, and that's where the sell, it's kind of up to the seller at that point, but go, hey, look, just be firm. You got a stage. I'm going to give you a real number. If I can give you a like this deal's going to close a real number to you, it's probably in your best. If you're okay with that number, you can cancel that listing agreement for any time.
Yeah.
And so, but they need to send a written notice on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I can write my contract to get for the offer.
Yeah, and you can give him like an LOI, even just so he knows you're serious. Just say, hey, dude, I'm not trying to mess up your schedule here at all. I'm a real buyer that will close. I just want to make sure that you don't get tied into having to pay someone 3% more. Because it's really not your issue, it's his issue.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where I was like, we could either do this quickly, because like the house is in great shape. There's a 2-1 single family house and then a 1-1 ADU, like detached on a big corner lot. I mean, views of downtown LA, like awesome neighborhood. So if I can eke it out, maybe I will. But yeah, that was really my thing right now. I mean, yeah, I'm just I just got word actually, one of my probates that got dismissed, so I'm closing that. So that's fucking huge.
There you go.
And, yeah, I was in probate jail for a while, just like wondering what the hell was going on, and then finally, like, they dismissed the son-in-law trying to, say that the mom couldn't sell, she wasn't right, and that was a learning lesson. The 60 days in escrow, trying to get that done. But
you guys, and that's another really good avenue. They're tough to crack, is directly marketing to probate attorneys. And what I would advise to do that is to just write a professional letter and mail it to them. No, don't email it to them. Don't call them. They're not going to take your call. But just email like who you are, what your capabilities are, and how you can add value to their business. Because for a probate attorney, if a family inherits a house and it's trashed and they don't want to deal with it and they just want to get the money out of it, that's an extra resource they can kick over. And actually, some probate attorneys even take commissions on those deals. And so those are people that are good to network with and reach out to.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just closed a probate for a client as well. I kind of did that white glove kind of thing I was telling you about, where it's like I found them a fixer, they got it, and like got them a hard money loan, got them the construction fee or the bid and everything. So my friends actually bought a flip that now they're gonna have like 500,000 in equity that I was able to get commission off of, and just kind of create a new deal avenue for, brokers. It's like we're doing these for investors. So it's just a whole new deal funnel now to where I can show them like, hey, we can get this thing that needs work. I got the guys, we can get the bid, I can get the hard money, and, we can get it done. So,
You're scaling.
dude, it's nuts, man. I don't know. I can't stop.
Hey, you know what though? It's all good things, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
you got a lot of projects going on, and you're expanding your business, and like, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't feel like it was that long ago. You had like one person on a team, and you're working on your first deal.
Yeah, yeah. So now I have 5 active listings. I'm about to do 2 new construction deals. I've got, yeah, investors for days. It's pretty wild.
Well, those are all good things, dude. All good
Yeah.
things. Now it's deal
Now
flow,
it's
sourcing.
executing. Yeah, yeah, execute deal flow. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll get that one locked in, and yeah, I'll have that one available for anybody in LA that wants to grab it. If I get it for $1 million, I'll let it go at $1,050,000.
Well, sell the numbers. Don't tell them sell the return, not just the,
Yeah, 1,350 into it. Yeah.
yeah. What's the return?
Yeah, it should be at least $100,000 return in 2 months, 3 months.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's a quick one. I mean, dude, it's all terraced. Like it's got this huge seating. Yeah, I mean, once I get under contract, I'll share it in the group.
Yeah, just wait and get them to send. And sometimes, Drew, I'll sit there and have them send the email in front of me, so they do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. I'm gonna help you write it. Just this is how you posture it. Fire it off.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, I'm taking it from like the largest brokerage in LA, Tracy Doe. Like, yeah, it's like it'll be nuts if I can take it away and yeah, flip it real quick, or just wholesale it off somebody else.
There you go. You guys, that is important as you're finding deals direct to seller. Don't step on contracts. Make sure the seller gets out because you don't want to recommend something to a seller that could get them in litigation. And then you can also be sued for tortious interference of a contract. So, listing agreement is not really a purchase and sale, so it's not the end of the world. But those are things you guys want to tread lightly on. So, and also don't screw up someone's listing agreement on. But if someone has an active contract, guys, don't step on their contract. It's bad karma. Listing agreement is different though, because you're getting what the seller wants. So. All right. Question. How is the Washington market selling? I have a deal incarnation with Daner Group. I've been completed on market. It's been 30 days. How is it taking to sell? Just curious. Okay, couple steps in that, guys. One thing is you guys nationwide with the stock market jumping the way it's jumping and moving around, there is slowdown in the market. And unfortunately, it hit us right in our hot spring market because this is the time all the way through, usually up until May, like the middle of May, end of May, we are ripping hot, and we were, and now things have changed, right? But that is part of this business, you guys. Rates shoot up, they come down. It is gonna be this is probably gonna be to be you guys. What I think is gonna happen this summer is it's gonna be slow. And I have a lot of projects going on, and I'm not panicking because I just have to be prepared for that as I'm going through it, right? And so the thing about as we go through transitions, and trust me, I got a few properties too sitting on market that I would think would fly off the shelf. One was listed, we had 25 showings a week, and all of a sudden the tariffs hit, stock market changed, so it went down to 4. So I had a 21 person drop in 1 week per list showing on this. And that's normal, you guys. That's the consumer. Consumers go hot and cold. So the benefit to this is, you guys, there's going to be a lot of deals out there. When the market's slow on the backside is when I'm buying the most on the front side. And that is one thing I've learned is always keep buying through the market. Now, I wouldn't say Washington slow is probably doing better than most markets right now. And the things that we want to check it for is if you have something on market, what's your current days on market and what are the actives and the pendings at right now? I got a house that I just hit 2 weeks and the broker called me. She's like, man, we haven't got any offers yet. I'm like, who cares? Because the comp that I'm using for this property, the two comps that we have took 45 days to sell recently. They just went pending at 45 days. And if I'm only at this price point for 2 weeks, that's telling me the market says it took 45 days for someone to absorb that price point here. And so that's what we want to look at is what's your days on market? What is the other active properties in the area around the same price worst days on market? That tells us whether we need to move price or not. But right now, it's just taking a little bit longer to sell things. Buyers are serious. I would say we've gotten a lot of lowball offers, guys, where people are like, well, here, take 20% off your list price and we'll buy. There's opportunistic buyers out there, and that's okay. We play the game with them, and either we get them to a number or we don't, we move on. And so, but this is normal. Anytime there's economic shock, the market cools down for a second because people overthink things. And so what we have to do is check our comps, check our product. Are we priced well? There is still more buyers in the market than there is housing supply. Mortgage rates, and these are things that you guys want to look at if you get nervous. So mortgage rate applications are up the last 2 weeks. That's a good sign. That means people are applying for loans. Those are things to look at. Like, are people getting more qualified? Now, if we're slowed down and mortgage rates are dropping drastically, like it did when the rate shot up, that's a problem because our buyer pool is shrinking and we have more inventory coming on. So it's just the absorption rate is taking a little bit longer, you guys. In your performas, like right now, I know I'm telling my team, I'm like, hey, just set your deals up for a little bit longer holds and a little bit higher construction to offset the tariff costs and the slowdown absorption. But you guys, if rates do fall, we should pop pretty quickly. But overall, the market's doing fairly healthy. It's balanced, and you just really got to check those key stats. All right, I'm gonna hammer through some of these questions in the box because we have a few in here, and then I'll open them up. Maya asks, how do I get a contract referral in Kitsap County? All right, so Maya, what I want you to do is watch Project Flip and go under construction. This is where I give very detailed about mining out contractors. So a couple things you can do is I talk about mining people's flipped houses, having your broker that you're working with pull all flipped houses in the last 12 to 18 months in the area. Then typically you can check to see if any of those houses had permits pulled with them with Kitsap County or the city they're in. That will tell you contractors that worked on those flip projects. The next thing is Kitsap County actually has a very good investor groups down there, and they're very small, kind of very, very small town, very friendly group of people. Like Snohomish County's that way too, Skagit County's that way. Very personable. That's a good way to get referrals for contractors in those areas too. Go to those networking groups. And then also in Kitsap County, I know there's a lot of brokers that specialize in investments and sell flip properties. And many of the brokers down there are actually contractors themselves. And so I want you to find the right broker that can also refer you out those resources. But I want you to watch Project Flip and go into building up that broker team. And if anyone has a referral for Maya, feel free to send over, or you can post it in the Facebook group. You guys, one thing of how I designed this course is I don't, it's really easy to just be handed something, you guys, but then that resource goes away. And what we're trying to do at Project RE is build the system for bringing in contractors and bringing in deal flow, not just dependent on other. Hold on one sec, guys. I have some little girls in my house, and they're being. All right, we're good. I thought they were going to barge in my office. So you guys go through because we got to build those systems. The more resources we have, you guys, I don't get any contractors referred to me because honestly, if investors really refer me a contractor, that means they're getting referred out anywhere. And I know their pricing is only going to be good for a little bit of time. And so we're constantly mining for people by doing those same things, permit tracking, going to suppliers and talking to them. Where do investors buy their cabinets from? They have general contractors coming in and buying those cabinets for investors on the regular. Who does the cabinet company see? They'll give you the names. You know, if you go into any cabinet supply company sells the generals, they'll give it to them as long as you promise to buy the cabinets from them. And so those are good ways to start getting those referrals up. Tim says, set up a separate email for just deals. Yep, you can definitely do that. And then I would, that's a good way for the spam because there's a lot of spam that comes through. You will be hammered because you're going to get added to a million lists. But, the people that you know well, don't put them in that bucket, right? Once you identify that good wholesale, good broker, don't put them in a mix with everyone else. I just got Jason a flip too. He just got my deal. Oh, so Wahid, did you sell Jason a deal? Look at that. So you guys, this is how this works. They're in the same group, so they're networking together. But Jason's a wholesaler, and Jason just bought a deal from a broker. And you're flipping that one, right, Jason?
Yeah, me and my partner.
There you go. So you guys, that's what we're talking about. Building those networks, talking to people. Sometimes wholesalers and brokers don't get along all the time, but it doesn't matter. It's just who can you build that relationship with? Wahid, was that your first off-market deal?
Yeah, dude, that was my first off market, complete first one, and Jason was there all along, just working it. So
How'd you get the deal?
it was okay, let's go through the story. This lady I went to high school with, her grandmother needed to sell, and we've been in contact on Instagram for so long. She was like, "Hey, my grandma needs to sell." Find out that there's a listing agent involved, but she was happy for us to take the deal, do a flip. She gets the commission, I make my wholesale, Jason makes his money. It all still worked out number wise.
Networking.
I know. And her son-in-law is a drug addict in the house, and she wanted him out, and then she needed the money for healthcare. So it was a win-win.
There you go. She got the terms she wanted, and that was all about networking. So
Yep,
you got networked with another broker. That broker can't list the property with a drug addict in there shooting up drugs.
exactly.
It's not a good way to market things, guys. And so then while he networking with brokers, he got the deal, and then Jason, who's out trying to spend any money, getting his own deals, found a great deal by just building that relationship. So, guys, this is why it's important to cast a web everywhere. And so that's awesome. I love that stuff.
Appreciate it, man. On to more.
Well, next one. That's what it comes down to. What's next? Here we go. All right. So now, you guys, I think. So we got Jason, Purdy, and Seta with their hands up. So Jason.
I was just going through the modules, James, and I had a question about contractors.
Okay.
So, one thing you mentioned that one way you can find GC is actually go onto the city's permitting site, and you'll be able to see the full permits, and their actual their number and everything. So, I was just curious because if you called up the contractor, is that like technically you're going behind somebody's back and you got their GC's info?
Yeah,
You know, 'cause-
that's exactly what it is.
okay.
It's you guys, so the benefit to that is you guys, and you guys, I'm teaching people this, and I'm probably one of the biggest targets you can hit. Like we all find resources from different ways, and you're not going behind the general contractors. What you're not going to find in that permit search a lot of times, you might find a general contractor, but most of the time the permits are in the owner's name. What we find in that list is plumbers, electricians, and HVAC because they pull their own individual permits. And those are the guys we're trying to track down the most because electrical goes all over the place. Like my electrician's charging a lot of money right now, so I got to go find more guys. And eventually he'll come down. Now, why is he charging a bunch? Because a bunch of other investors have hired him now, and now the pricing's gone up, and they're just paying him more. And so that's just part of the business. You guys, I'm also a firm believer of if I see a house under construction and it's a flip house and I'm driving, I get out and see, I'll go knock on the door and be like, hey, who's home? What are you guys working on? Are you looking for more work? That's probably the best way that we find guys. Like anytime people are working, our project managers, I do it all the time still. Hey, what are you doing? Who do you work for? You need more work. Because we can see them working on the job site. Because driving for dollars isn't just for finding deals, it's for finding contractors. Because the more resources I have, the more deals I can do. And so I probably spend more time knocking on construction sites than I do actual deals. But you're not going to
Gotcha.
usually find that trade. You guys building, though, that a lot of times, if you're looking at getting into development, pulling permits on a development site, the builder sometimes will be listed on there. And that's a great way to find a builder that works for developers and investors to build.
Gotcha. So you recommend, so driving for dollars, that's a great way to find GCs, but not so much going on the permitting side on each city.
Well, you have to do it in a way because here's the other reality is, guys, a lot of flippers don't pull permits, so there's no permits to be seen. And so but it's a way, like if I need an electrician, we're going to look everywhere. And so electrical and plumbing, you're going to run into people like me. So when you guys look for me, guess what? I pull permits in my own names. So you'll just be calling me. And so, it's a way because what we're trying to do, we can go on and find 20 electricians online real quick. And then we're going to waste all this time, and 18 out of the 20 are going to be retail and way more than we can pay as investors. So this is a way for us to just scrub down and call the people that work for who we are, like that they're going to price it similar. You guys, what we're trying to find is the person with a gap in their schedule, like an electrician, plumbing, HVAC. If you find the guys with a gap in their schedule, their price comes way, way down. My electrician, too busy right now. He doesn't have any gaps. He's charging me too much. Randomly, my most expensive electrician is coming out to do 2 jobs because his new construction sites are stalled out and he can't wire and he needs to keep his guys working. So my most expensive electrician gave me the cheapest bid to fill the gap. That's what we're trying to do in construction. Fill the gap with the trades guys that need the work right now. That's why you can't just go to the same well over and over and over again. If you go to the same person and have it quoted every time and they're busy, you're going to pay more and more and more. And they have a right to do that. That's their business. We want to find the guys with the gaps. How I control my costs is we will call and we will find the person that needs the work today.
Gotcha. Thank you, James.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
For sure. Purdy.
Hey James, I think Zeta was first. So
Oh, sorry. I was going Zeta. Seta.
Hi.
How are you?
All right. So I just have a question and then also feedback. And all right. So Sean and Kyle sent me this condo like a few weeks ago. And it was a great deal. And I got it. And then while I was, under contract, reviewed the financials of the HOA, which were in the toilet. So the HOA dues were first of all, it's just obviously a cosmetic flip because it's a condo. So the HOA dues were highest in the county, like by double. The comps, like the comps for this condo, those HOA dues were half of what these dues were, like exact comps, like same views, like same bed bath count, etc. And then I looked at the financials and they had 3 special assessments going on top of regular HOA dues. So 2 of those special assessments were already included in the HOA dues, which were $900 a month. And then one of the special assessments was due at closing, and the seller was likely not going to pay for it. So then I would have to pay for it like in full, which was like, would totally eat into my bottom line. Obviously, I don't even know if like I would get funding for that to pay 13 grand at closing for special assessments. But the bigger issue, two big issues of why I ended up backing out of it. So the two bigger issues are they have another special assessment coming down the pike. The HOA was waiting to get bids on it, which the bids were coming like they're going to be coming like next week or the week after. And then they will assign yet another special assessment to all of the condos, which would have hit during the time that I held the condo, which could be anywhere. I mean, they had a fire there last year. So we're talking like this was part of their repair rebuild. So they don't even know what the bids would be. But given that the first special assessment was about 15 grand a unit, like we don't know. Like it could be 10 grand, it could be 60 grand. I mean, like who knows, right? Because it's just, we have no idea. What they had in their reserves, like they're supposed to have like 2 million in their reserves. They had 150,000. So my concern was that even though like the ARV was really good and it didn't need a lot of work because it was just cosmetic, my concern was twofold, that I just didn't know, like I could be hit with like massive special assessments, excuse me, which would be due during the time that I held it, or when I go to sell it, like it would be on the negotiating table between myself and the buyer, and they'd have to be paid in full at the time of closing. And so I walked away from it because like
what was the price point on the resale of this condo?
270.
Okay, so that's typically an FHA buyer at that point.
Exactly. So I would want to hold it for 6 months. So that was the other thing. So I want, or not 3 months rather, like, hold it for 90 days before I have to relist it at, list it at 91 days, even though it really only take me like 30 days to do it or whatever, but I would hold it. My concern was that like an FHA buyer, exactly, first time home buyer, is going to go, oh, like your dues are XYZ, like twice as high as this other condo for the same price. Like there's many unknowns for the ARV for me to feel comfortable. Like I just felt like I was going to get sacked with like a big chunk, like that would come out of my cash on cash return, because it was too many unknowns.
Well, and it's also at the time, depending on reserves, FHA won't even finance it.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
it has to go to conventional. So wait, I'm a little confused. You said who sent you the deal?
Sean.
Okay, where was the deal at?
Bremerton.
Okay, so let's back that up because I think this is important. And just so you guys know, all of the entities that I'm connected with, you guys, I think everyone who's in the group knows. I'm like, no, you guys, this is a community. No matter what, I'm going to tell you the straight answer on this. So, because that's not an HD deal, right? So basically what the actual scenario was a hard money lender was passing you on a deal that they probably got from a wholesaler that submitted in. Is that right?
No, Sean has like a trap set up or something. That's what Kyle said. Like that is like just cheap stuff that comes up. And it was very cheap.
Oh, it was a listing?
Yeah, it was on the MLS.
Okay, so they weren't trying to write it up for you. They were just sending you an opportunity?
Yeah, and then I did send it, and then I said, oh, okay, great. And then they were going to write up. We were like in the middle of all of it because I put in an offer. We were in the middle.
Wait, the hard money lender was going to write up the contract?
No, sorry. Intrust was going to fund it for me.
Okay, but you were writing it up for yourself.
Yeah, okay. Because I have my license and everything. So I wrote up the purchase and sale and everything like that.
Okay, so you guys, this is actually a good thing. I want to explore this a little bit. Don't buy buildings with shitty HOAs.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
It's just not. You guys. That's an unknown that we can't factor into a pro forma, right? It's just when you are dealing with reserve special assessments. I have bought some of those in the past, and I bought them because they were really cool properties with like sound views, and we were paying pennies on the dollar for it. I'm like, all right, well, whatever, we can hang on to this. It was worth it. Other than that, I would not mess with it because you don't know how that's going to affect your hold times or whether the financing is going to be in. And so, especially if you're selling at like to an FHA buyer. Now, if it's like $1 million condo on the water, that's actually probably a different story because people with money were like, yeah, I'm working these in my numbers. I want to live here, right? Like there was a bunch in Kirkland back in the day that had terrible HOAs, but people were buying them because it was like you were on a dock on they were never going to be able to build them that way again. And the people that did buy them were really happy because once all the assessments went through, the values of the buildings, each unit went up like they doubled because the whole building got redone. And so there's like a strategic play to it, but with that product, I would not touch it. Now, the one thing actually, I like hearing this about interest funding, you guys, because I didn't even talk about this on our group, and I talk about it in the course, is you guys, your hard money lender is another person that you can go, hey, let me know if you have any deals, right? Wholesalers are bringing them in deals all the time. And if they're getting the financing, they want to get you deal flow. Now, what just happened in that scenario is one of the hard money lenders actually goes, hey, this looks cheap, and just sent it off to her to look at with comp. But we need to verify that information, right? Because that's just a lender going, hey, dig into this deal.
Right.
On a loan to value standpoint, it works. And so we always want to know what the deal source has given us. And you guys, no matter who the deal source is, you got to run your own numbers. Like, I have people I buy deals from all the time. I've known them 20 years, and I don't care what numbers they're sending me. I'm going to redo my numbers when I get it. I need pictures, and then we got to verify that or verify it through a third party. Down in Arizona right now, people are sending me deals. I'm sending it to a broker that works in this area, and I'm going, hey, this is what they're saying the ARV is. They're sending me comps back, say that looks good or that looks too pressed. And so we got to verify that information. So I definitely like that the hard money lender was sending you guys deal flow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would not buy that deal though. That's not the one you want to buy.
I'm glad I backed out of it because I said the only thing that would make me back out of it is if the HOA financials are in the toilet, and certainly they were. It just made me feel like my concern is that I'm going to get stuck with something that's going to like bankrupt me, even if I was to refi long-term buy and hold. That the special assessments are going to be so high that I couldn't even cash flow to rent it. There was no cap in the community, but it just felt like too many unknowns that I was like, I don't feel comfortable with it, even though it was like an enticing ARV. It's like, I don't know that I would get that.
What was the price of the condo?
100.
Okay. So it's cheap.
And then I offered 125, which is what they took. And it was going to be about a 40 to 45 rehab budget.
Okay.
And I would hold it for, 6 months. I mean, 4 months min, but given that like, I don't want to list it until 91, like there was all these things that I was like, I just know that's going to be probably an FHA buyer because of like where I am and what's the condo situation. It just felt like it could have been really good. And it also could have been total shit because like, I don't know what that next special assessment's going to be. Like they didn't even have those numbers to provide.
Yeah, it could go down. Now, one thing I would do for analytics is I would go back and see if those condos were worth, because you said the comp was 275, right?
Yeah, the comp is about 270 about 270.
And that was when HOA dues were low though?
No, that's just like current comp, like just all of like the comps in the area with this that are same 2.2s with water mountain views.
Okay. So that was with the messed up assessment already, but the new ones coming due.
Correct. And we just don't know what that number is. I mean, it could be nothing. It could be like 60 grand per unit. I mean, who knows, right? Like, we don't know. Like,
so in the minutes, and so you guys, these are things, because let's unpack this a little bit, you guys, because sometimes there's some hidden deals in there. So how do we find out what they're working on? So like the HOA is going to issue you a resale certificate. In that resale certificate, they're also going to give you typically the minutes. Now in that resale certificate, that's going to tell you what the assessment is. Now, if they haven't came up with a number or a plan, it won't be in there. But you can look at the minutes of what that is assessing. And sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, it's for the fences all around the property. All right, well, worst case, I got 100 units. Let's say it's worth 300 grand. Maybe it's only 3-4 grand a unit. And so if you dig in a little bit deeper, that could be the difference whether you're getting a home run and everyone else is doing what you're doing and running away. Now, I don't advise you buying this, but I would dig in. That the price is good, 100, and it's at 275. So there's a lot of delta in there. The other thing I would do is go, okay, well, let's say worst case scenario, I'm going to put my hold times at 12 months and I'm going to put my resale at 20% less. Does it still work?
Hmm.
And if it still works, then I'm going to go, okay, I might roll the dice on this. Um, because most likely it's not going to take off 50 grand off the value on the property with the assessment, everything in there. And I can go, well, worst case scenario, I'm making a little bit of money. Best case scenario, I'm absolutely ripping this deal.
Yeah, and I think that might be where it comes from. Like, I'm still so new. Like, I'm just still in the middle of my first deal that if I were like more seasoned, I'd probably go, what the hell? I'll give it a shot. But
But
like,
don't give up on it because I guarantee you 1,000,001 wholesalers are writing that thing up too, and they're not looking at the HOA. And sometimes you might be able to get that deal for 100 grand. But if you don't like it, move away from it for
yeah,
sure. It's, but is there a number? And then I would at least let the broker know because they're going to get kind of jerked around a little bit for the next month on offers.
yeah, I don't even know if they're gonna. I see that it hasn't even been put back up on the MLS. So like, she was saying that like the agent for the seller, she was saying that she talked to her because it's an estate sale, and so like the guy died and like the three kids inherited it, and then they like demoed it to like fix it up and then rent it out, and then they got in a big fight and decided they didn't want to do that and they're going to sell it. So they just want to like get rid of it, and then and the agent of the seller, she said she talked to the attorney of the brokerage, who I think is going to like advise the seller to just let the HOA like absorb it, or just like to um not even accept the gift, because it's just like they had two other investors that were looking at buying it and then backed out, which is how I got it. And then I backed out. So I'm guessing like it's just kind of it's just risky, in a way that like maybe people aren't very comfortable with. But I'm thinking like, because she said, well, is there a number that would work? And I was like, well, it's hard for me to say because it feels really arbitrary for me to name a number when I don't even know like what this next huge special assessment is that's coming down the pike that's going to become due while I own the property. Like,
Yeah.
if I try to sell it, I'm going to have a buyer is going to be like, oh, I don't want to pay that 50 grand and it's due in full and then I got to pay it or whatever. So I was like, it's hard for me to say what number works when we don't even know, because they haven't even gotten the bids yet for this project. So
Yeah, and then you guys, those are things we have to take as evaluated risk, right? So like, I bought a couple properties recently where I rolled the dice and I was like, all right, I don't have time to get a septic inspection. I'm not getting the deal, but the deal made sense with this in there. I'm like, all right, worst case. So I ran it worst case scenario. I'm like, all right, well, it's not a home run, but the deal won't get broken if the septic's broken. It's not going to be, it'll just be a base hit deal. Rolled the ball twice, guys, or dice twice. I got hit both times. Another one I just did, sewer, rolled the dice on, was supposed to be 30 grand, turned out to be 2,500 bucks. So I always just assume worst case, and then that tells me whether I should do it or not, but never buy something you're uncomfortable with. Now, one thing I would say is if it doesn't work for you, that's okay, but there might be someone in our group that would go, you know what? I like this kind of deal. And you can make a commission right now.
yeah, hit me up, guys. I'll make a commission.
Send it to me. I'll look at it.
Okay.
I like weird deals.
All right.
And I don't buy in Bremerton typically, but it's if there's an opportunity, guys, explore what you can do with it, because it does sound like there's an opportunity there, but then again, I haven't seen it.
I liked the unit a lot. I had like all these grand ideas, and then I don't know. But yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll see if I'll contact the agent and see if it's still what they're doing with it. I don't even know what they're doing with it right now, but I'll get it over to you.
Yeah, I can tell you if they're thinking about giving it back to the HOA, they owe a lot on it or owe 100 grand on it, and they're just giving up. So the 125 is they might not have had any other offers. That might just be to clear the debt.
Yeah, exactly. That's very possible.
So, but there's also ways around that too. So yeah, you never know. But I agree. Don't buy what you don't know. And so, but I do like that you brought that. You guys reach out to your hard money lenders. They get deal flow. I think I'm pretty impressed with Intrust that they sent her a listing like, hey, I'd look into this. Um, that's that's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give those guys some props. All right. We got Purdy.
Hey James,
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Doing good.
Uh, yeah, I'm just having some trouble finding deals, so just wanted to ask you some questions.
Yes.
So if wholesalers send me something like, do they like, am I supposed to like give feedback on every deal that they send, or like just to make sure that like I don't get left behind on any deals that actually works?
I think if it's someone that's doing deals in your area, and I would give them always be thankful. Say, hey, I really appreciate the opportunity. Unfortunately, this deal doesn't work for me because my contractor would be at this price, or when I looked at the values, I think it's around here. And so I always give them a number though. I would have to be at this number. Let
Mm-hmm.
me know if that ever works. But again, thank you for sending me the opportunity.
Okay.
Because you guys, it does tell people, right? Because I wear a lot of hats. I'm a broker, I'm a wholesaler, I'm a flipper. And so when I get that feedback as a wholesale, I'm like, okay, cool. That just doesn't work for her on that one, but maybe there's something else coming down the pipe. And
Mhm.
so, and then also you never know, they might not sell the deal and they need that offer. And so that's why I always kick them a number, say, I got to be at this number, unfortunately, because my rehab's a little bit higher. I'm seeing the value here. But again, dude, thank you for sending me the opportunity. Hopefully we can do a deal again soon. I'm actively looking and I'm hungry for a deal.
Okay.
Now, if they take that feedback wrong, because
Uh-huh.
there's nothing wrong with what I just said, right? Very polite education. If they take it wrong, they're not for me anyways. So it kind of tells me like if they're like, well, you're never gonna get a deal. It's like, all right, well, we'll see about that. I like to see the response to whether I should spend some more time with that person.
Mhm.
If they're like, oh, thanks for the feedback. Well, I might come back to you. I got to see if I can get this number. I'm contracted higher. Then I would pick up the phone, call them and say, hey, look, hey, work that deal, but let me know if you have anything else you're working on. You want me to give you an offer before you actually go meet the seller so you have a real buyer.
Mhm.
That will go a long way with them.
Okay. Yeah, the issue I'm having with the wholesale deals right now is like there's too many investors, I think, that either have their own licenses to sell those properties, or they might have like crews that can do it and cheaper, because like none of these deals are working for me, but there's like multiple offers that they're getting from other investors. So I'm like, there's something that's not working for me right now.
Well, and then that's where we have to audit that too. If the rehab, you know, what what I would do then, you guys, we have to audit our own costs at that point. Um, Typically it's going to come down to construction over anything else.
Mhm.
Um, like for me, I don't get more aggressive on a deal because I'm my own broker. Most times I'm giving out list backs anyways. But if the
Mhm.
deal doesn't work with a standard commission in there, that means I'm artificially making a deal and I don't buy deals that way. Because if the market shifts, then I'm going to get clipped. And so um, I would say it's probably going to come down to construction costs. So we have to explore that a little bit and go, okay, well, what's our rehab number? And are any of these wholesalers like, that's the good thing about going back and forth. Like, hey, I got a question for you. Like, I would call them up, like, so these people, what were their rehab numbers that they thought they were going to buy at? Because I seem to not be able to make this work. I'm going to go meet with some other contractor. Maybe I got the wrong guy. Can you just give me a little bit of feedback? Like the rehabber that bought this thing, did they hit the 100 grand on the budget? Because they might be hitting that number too. And so we need to audit who our resources are because most of the time you can't get into a deal is because we don't have the right team in the middle. And that's why you hear me talking about we got to find contractors. Forget the deal. We got to find more and more resources. And so things that you can also do is, especially like any of those flip properties that we were looking at, like when we were looking at comps the other day on our call, you know, I like to reach out. I have no problem calling an investor like, hey, dude, can you tell me how much you spent on this property? I just got for my own curiosity. Like, and as long as you're super friendly, guys, people are usually pretty cool about it. And so, I'll go through the time of pulling their phone, or a lot of times their phone numbers are right on the MLS too. Like the seller phone to show, the seller's phone number's on. I'll call them and say, hey, dude, I got a question for you. So you did an awesome turn. I'm super impressed. I got to shop out my guys. I'm not going to steal yours, but hey, can you just tell me what you spent on this property? Because I'm trying to, and people are usually pretty cool. If someone asks me, I'll tell them right away.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
so we have to let's dig into that and explore a little bit because your rehab numbers, are they based on actual construction bids and cost, or are they you ballparking it?
I did walk a few with the contractor also, and then usually, like, so far, they are coming almost close to where I am ballparking them to.
Are you telling them the number before they give it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mhm.
that's good. And then do you like a couple of those contractors?
Uh, so the first one I walked it a property with, just I don't know what happened, stopped responding to me completely.
Well, he's a contractor. That's what they do. That's what they do. Um,
Yeah. He was,
and part of that is you guys, we got to be conscious. And again, I talk about this a lot in project or even the last 4 weeks on those training calls and in Project Flip. We got to make sure that we're not wasting people's time either and valuing the contractor's time. And
Mhm.
so, if you go look at a few, they're gonna be like, all right, lady, like, what are we doing a deal or not? Right. And so instead of going, you guys, when you go walk with a project, and let's say you think your budget's going to be 150 and someone else bought it as a flip and they're going to obviously getting it done a little bit cheaper, that or they don't know. I talk to the contractor, say, hey, look, we've looked at a couple projects. We haven't been able to get a deal. For some reason, my rehab costs are a lot higher than what these other guys are buying at, and it's making it hard for me to buy something. What do you think we can do to get the number down on these things a little bit? And, make it the contractor's problem too, because they want the work. And so I got to get my number down for me to play ball in this market. What can we do to fix this? And so having those conversations really do matter. And then also, if both contractors are around that price, then let's go get two more too, right? You've already kind of established their pricing that your numbers are about in line with them. Now our goal is to beat those numbers.
Yeah. I mean,
And
the
you
first,
guys, you're always gonna have to do this. Like the generals I'm using right now, I probably won't be using them and on my next because they're just slowly inking the number up, and I got to pull it away, hire someone else, train them, put them in. Their numbers come back down, then I bring them back in. It's this constant game. And so I would say you have to do less of it in the high end renovations because you just factor for a big number out the get go. But with what we're targeting, it's a lot of that give and take. So we got to figure out if investors are all buying around us and we can't get it done, we got to figure out how to drive that cost down. And the costs we want to focus on, you guys, construction, lending, selling costs. And, but also look at who bought it when it gets listed, see if they're the broker or not. Because if they're not, that answers your question too. Because you can look at who owns the property, who's the LLC, who's the listing broker. And if they're not two in the same, then they're paying the broker fees themselves.
you find it like if the property is listed in the name of the LLC, like, can you
Yep.
find the seller
So
and the actual?
almost every state except for Wyoming, and I think Arizona's like this too, but you can do an LLC search.
Mhm.
So Colorado will have an LLC search, and then you can look up who owns that property and the names. The members will be in there.
Okay. Okay.
But
Yeah.
let's audit that because I think, and I would say when we were looking at that comp, one thing I do think you're missing is you don't have a good broker on your team. And so
Yeah.
you're guessing on your comps. And then when we're looking at, I'm interpreting it from how I would, but I don't know that market. Like, You know, even
Mhm.
Bremerton, like we were talking about, it's in Washington, but I don't do a lot of deals down there. I want someone that knows Bremerton. And so we need that person because even that deal we were looking at, I'm like, it could be 500, but also could be 550. I don't know what the impact of this garage situation is. And the person that knows the product there, the difference
Mhm.
between 525 and 550 on the comp, if they
Mhm.
know it, that's the difference in the deal.
Yeah,
And so you don't have that person yet, and we need to get that person.
I did talk to a agent also about that, and then like he said it would be like 45K less. But yeah, I haven't found anybody who is like that person like you mentioned who is always on the MLS sending deals. Like I have not found that person yet.
Did you? So, question: have you gone to the Bigger Pockets meetup in Colorado when they have those?
I not the bigger pockets one, but I go to like a few meetups regularly.
Okay, Bigger Pockets does one, and we go out there like once a year to go to sometimes. There was a
Mhm.
lot of good brokers in that meetup group that I chatted with. And so we got to I can definitely tell you there's even the husband wife couple I referred you. It was in a meeting. Someone brought him up. I spoke with him at BP Con.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to reach out to her on Instagram and she hasn't responded.
Then hit her again. Because you know, some business professionals don't check Instagram very often either.
Yeah.
Like I miss messages all the time because I'm like, I don't know, there's so much stuff going on in there. I can't pay attention to it. And so we have to find that person because we want to find out, is it construction costs or is it comping? But if you're just off by a little bit on you guys, if we're off by 10% on our budgeting and 10% on our value, we're never getting a deal done. And so, you know, we got to build that team around us. So let's stop looking at deals. Let's find the person.
Okay.
It's good to go through the reps on the deals, but we have to be able to find a broker that wants your business. And so your title rep, who's your title rep?
I actually met a title company owner at a meetup last week. She's basically like most of the Colorado people who are investors are actually dealing with that title company.
Perfect. So I want you to call that title rep and say, hey, look, I got good news for you. I'm going to give you all my business, but I need 3 brokers that are awesome investor brokers that sell a lot of people's product for them. And I need you to connect me to them so I can get the right team because I'm struggling to get a deal done because I don't have the right brokers in my quarter. That person's whole business, you guys, that title rep is to find brokers and get their business so they know what's going on with all these people, how much volume they're doing, what kind of business that they're bringing through, who they're selling for. I want you to call that title rep and ask for 3 referrals. Like if you called my title rep, he's going to tell you to call me right away. And so that you guys, that's what we want. We want to build that the title reps are, you guys are great for hard money lenders, brokers. Their whole business is to see who's doing business and to go chase them down. Also, who's the wholesalers they're doing a lot of deals with? Get that list from them too at the same time.
Yeah. I mean,
And then did you
she
say,
herself said she does wholesaling too. So she said she's gonna send me stuff when she gets it, but yeah, I haven't gotten anything so far.
that's weird. Title reps too and wholesaling. Are they white labeling a title company or are they an actual title company?
No, they are an actual title
Okay.
company. This lady used to be a wholesaler before she made this title company. And so she still does some of it a little bit, not that much. She focuses more on title company now.
Okay, so I want you to go get coffee with her. That's their whole job is to come bring you coffee and give you pens and all sorts of things. And you're gonna say, I'm gonna give you all my business for life. I'm locked in with you, but I need these people. Can you help me out here?
Okay.
They will see the numbers going down. So look, I want you to do that this week.
Yeah. I can call her tomorrow.
There you go. That's a good start. You guys, title reps, lean on them.
Okay.
And then once we get different people, then let's look at why we're missing deals.
Okay. I mean, so far I have messaged agents every time I looked at a deal which kind of I thought worked or I could make it work, and their numbers have been like pretty close to mine, like 5K here and there.
Yeah, but they might not be good at their job either.
Yeah,
There's a lot of deals getting done in Seattle on market that brokers don't see that we do. So we got to find let's find the specialist, because that's what we need. We need the right people in our corner, and that's what you hear me talk about in the education. You guys don't rush to go find the deal. Let's find the people first. If we have the people, we can work smart and get into the right deals.
Mhm. Okay.
So you guys take our swings, but this is how we're going to audit that real quick. And so there's just something going off, and then contractors too. If the title rep's done wholesaling, the brokers she's going to introduce you to will have contractors typically if they're doing a lot of volume. She might know brokers that are contractors that will do the construction and sell it for you too. So let's lean into that network a little bit, because I feel like you're kind of reaching out to the people that just don't give a crap. Excuse my language. And we don't want lazy people on our team. We want people that we want to do deals together, that we're all doing deals.
Yeah, nobody, like, at least brokers have not been sending me anything consistently. It's just like one-off stuff here and there.
That does not surprise me. You guys, 95% of brokers did not sell a house this year. So it's
It surprises me because I looked them up on Zillow and stuff, and it says they sold like 40 houses in the last 12 months. So I'm like, they are doing a lot of volume.
but you guys, that's also numbers can be a little, we don't care about what deals they're doing. Who are they selling them to? Are they selling to investors? But some of those stats are inflated because if they're on a team, they'll get team credit on those.
Oh,
So how much you call the title rep?
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I will call the title rep tomorrow.
So remember, guys, Zillow makes money by selling leads. And so people that pay them money, their reputation and their stats look a lot better. Like if you look me up on Zillow, you know how many transactions you'll see? 0. Because I don't pay them $1. It's not worth my time. It's like let's go direct to the source.
Okay. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I have another question. I need to find people first, but I did talk to a seller's agent today about a house that hasn't sold in like 2 weeks, and it's a fix and flip property. Usually, like those things are going so fast that I don't even get to talk to anybody. So this one I actually talked to, and he's showing me the property tomorrow, but I just wanted to see if there's any like specific questions I should ask him when I meet him tomorrow, or like because this property is listed higher than it would work for me.
Well, no, I don't think you don't need to say that now. I think go look at what it is first. And then when you walk through it, just say, hey, I'm going to go run my budget and relook at comps again. And then I'll get you a number to submit to the seller. And, if you have any comps for something fixed up, by all means, if you could send them over, that'd be great. But if not, I can do it. I can pull my own comps. But you're just because to see the house, you guys, I don't ever tell someone I need it cheaper. I'll give people a range, but I need to see what it is first. Like, and who knows, like I need to know what the electrical is, what the layouts are. So, I would just go there and do your budget. And then when you're there, just say, okay, this house needs a little bit more work than I was hoping for. Let me go rerun my budget and I'll get you a number.
Okay.
Because if you tell them right on the spot, they're gonna be like, well, you didn't even do your research. They're not gonna take it that serious.
Okay. And then is it okay usually to make an offer just based on my estimates from like looking at it without even a contractor?
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. Just kind of pat them up a little bit. That's why we want to make sure we get the right team, but just get an inspection period. And then during the inspection period, you can bring the contractor out to verify your numbers.
Okay.
I would say just make it a tight inspection if you're coming in low. Like, hey, I just need 3 days to look at this and firm up some numbers, but I'm going to be about this price on the house.
Okay.
And then that time, the contractor will, like, hey, I got something under contract. I got to get a bid on it right away. They will jump at that. It's if you're just going to go look, they might start not coming.
Yeah, that I know that.
Yeah.
I've noticed that before. And any tips on like organization on how to regularly keep in touch with people? Because like I remember to message some people more and then I forget the others, and then it's been a while and I don't know like how can I restart that conversation from there? Like wholesalers, agents. I'm talking to a lot of people nowadays and it's getting very like disorganized in my mind.
Yeah, you guys, one thing, you guys having a simple CRM works well. So one I like, and you guys, I don't in our courses, I don't plug a certain CRM because every CRM is different. It's a database managing. I talk about the ones I use, the one why I don't like some of them, why I do like some of them. But I know in Project Wholesale and Flip, I talk about Follow Up Boss. And Follow Up Boss is a very affordable CRM. It's very simple, and you can database a couple buckets real quick. And it could be brokers, wholesalers, even contractors. And it allows you to just put in their information, and then you can send them text messages through there too. And just, having, I mean, you could use Excel if you want to just keep it in front of you, but the CRMs work really well because you can also say in 30 days, send them a text to just say, hey, it's me checking in. And so, Follow Up Boss, in my opinion, it's not the most intricate one, but my salespeople have loved it because it's so simple and you can throw tags on it. It makes it very easy to communicate.
Yeah, I will look at that. Yep, that's all I had. Thank you.
Call that title rev. I want to hear about this on Tuesday.
Yep, for sure.
All right. Neil, and then Ron. And
What's up, man?
I see some questions. You guys all hit those two in the chat box. What's going on, Neil? How'd it go? Did your contractor get offended you didn't give him the job?
No, it actually worked.
There you go.
Yeah, the guy texts back. He was like, dude, you should just call me, let me know next time. And by the way, if you want me to come sub in for anything that you might need, just let me know. I was like, dope.
And now you know you can get them down on pricing a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna use that with I'm getting the same contractor to bid on my next project as well. So yeah, I have a good network brewing right now, so it's great. But thanks for the feedback. That really worked. I was like, yeah, I was telling my wife, I was like, yeah, it worked. She's like, good job.
I got a lot of little nifty tricks that work sometimes.
Love it. Well, thank you for that. So I have a couple of deal sourcing questions.
Oh, yeah.
So over the last year, I've bought like 4 or 5 like estate sale properties. I'm closing on a bank-owned one in the next couple of days. And I usually work in my specific market with my broker that we've done every deal with, and I buy and sell with them. And they're some of the best brokers in the Hudson Valley. They're really good at selling shit, but not the best at finding me these type of deals because that's just not what they focus on. So my question for you is, do you think they're going to get offended if I reach out to some of these other brokers that we've done deals with on the buy side? And if yes, how might I navigate, the conversation, because they're really expecting to buy and sell, and maybe the expectation is made up in my mind, but I want to see if you have any inputs.
Are they giving you any sort of deal on the listings at all when they're doing buy and sell?
No, not at all.
Then they got nothing to complain about, dude. It's, what I would say, it's always good to have a professional conversation. We have a lot of clients that buy through us, but they also buy elsewhere and they still use us on the backside. And that if a broker should always want the client to get the best deal that works for them, no matter what, because the more success they have, the more success we're going to have with them on the long term. And so, what I would just tell them, say, hey guys, we love how you list and sell properties. You guys are awesome. You are my guy or gal. And, especially for what you're selling, you need that broker to
Yeah,
understand what you're selling.
yeah,
But hey, we're having issues finding deal flow. So I just want to let you know we've been reaching out to other brokers and wholesalers just to get deal flow. Because if we don't get deal flow, our business dries up. And we might, I just hey, on some of these deals, we might have to buy through them, but you're still going to use them on the listing side, right?
yeah, for sure.
And that should be, there shouldn't be anything awkward about that. Saying, hey, just we're spreading our net. We might be buying some deals through some other brokers and wholesalers. We're gonna use you as our listing team. You are our go-to, which in theory helps them anyways. They're gonna get more listings. And so, what I would set the tone is though, hey, look, I would love to get your feedback on some of these deals when we get in contract because I'm still gonna be using you to sell it. And the last thing I want to do is buy something that you can't sell later.
Cool.
And talk to them. It's a partnership, because I get deal flow everywhere too, and it's just um, that should not be an awkward conversation. It's a future thing. Like, hey, if we get more deal flow coming in, you're going to get 2 to 3 times more listings next year.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, and I regularly have conversations with them about it because I'm pinging them all the time, sending them listings. I generally only buy on the market. And
At that point, too, if you're sending the listings out, I go direct to listing broker.
yeah,
Like you guys, if you're an investor and you see it now, if you need the feedback, but you can get the best possible deal by going direct to that list broker, because if you need a little bit cheaper, or they have both sides of the commissions to play with at that point too, and they're motivated to get the deal done. And if they can get you a better deal, go that route, and then just let them know they're going to get the listing.
cool. And I guess the pro of these people working directly with me is that if they find a good deal, they know that I'm going to close. And because usually I try and say, hey, if you get me a good deal, I'll sell with you as well. But for these folks dealing with this type of seller or an estate sale in this market that I'm in, those people will not be able to sell the type of stuff that we do.
Yeah,
So
I
I'd
think
rather
if
buy with
someone
them.
asks about that, that's okay to talk. This is what I would practice on too. Your broker listing the properties, you're giving them inventory in a pipeline. They should be stoked with whatever you have
Yeah,
coming to them. With the benefit to you going direct to list broker is they're going to make double the commission up front or at potential to.
yeah,
And if they do ask about the list back, that's where you can say, hey, on some deals I can consider it, but we have this is how a or a builder explained it to me one time, and I still sell them deals. And even though I don't do the listings for them, and he called me up. He's like, hey, dude, James, I want your deals. We've known each other a long time. He's like, but my listing team is so dialed in with what I do on my pre-sales, the construction. You guys are great brokers, but to plug you in the system, I'm going to need a broker in my office for a 3-hour meeting every week.
well,
And he's like, it's important for my success to have this team around me. And he's like, how can we make this work? He's like, I'll pay you double the commission up front, whatever it is. He's like, let's just make it work. And I was like, cool, that makes sense. It's not that I'm just getting a list back. I'm trying to help his business do well, which he still buys a lot of property from us. And so, just if someone asks to say, hey, this team, they do project management for me, they do design, just what, and it just makes it really hard for me to give it that listing because unless you can do that, it's hard for me to do because I'm trying to buy. But the good news is I'll be a
got
great
it.
buyer for you. And, if it's a home run deal and you got to just fall on the sword and give them the list back, then do it. But you should be able to explain it and they're motivated because they're doubling up anyways.
Sure. Okay, cool. Awesome. I'll try that.
Yeah.
Second question for you is, so I'm obviously in the Hudson Valley market, a couple hours north of New York City. I'm looking at other like sub markets around New York. and I'm like struggling to meet wholesalers. I've been talking to a lot of investor focused agents. Market's just dry over here, it seems. And then, I've tried talking to the homes for cash type people. So I've spoken to several of them. I, I get called back, but they just don't have deal flow for me. And title companies, I've done that as well. I actually reached out to a few that I've worked with in the past, and no response. So I've heard your feedback on this call. Just hit them again, hit them again. But do you have any other feedback for potentially like going and finding better wholesalers, or is there like some sort of website or something that wholesalers
Unfortunately.
typically list shit for, just deals on? I'm on like Facebook groups a lot, and I'm on all of these wholesale groups. And when I find someone who has a deal, I'll write to them, or I'll direct message them directly, but won't hear back. It's weird. So I don't know if it's like market specific, or I might just not be doing something right.
No, because a lot of those Facebook groups too, they're posting bogus deals just to get your
Yeah,
info. And so unfortunately, there is no like black tie club of wholesalers that are just selling good properties. It's yeah, you guys, the wholesaling game has changed so much the last 4 years. It's just not what it was. But what I would say is if you had that guy that didn't get back to you that had a good deal in your area, I would still track them down and call them because you should be able to find their phone number and text them. Say, hey, give me a ring real quick. I hit you up about that deal. It's probably gone now, but I'd love to talk to you. I'm a really good buyer. You're doing deals in the area I buy in. I think we can get a lot of business done. And try reaching out directly to the guys actually in your zone that are doing good deals. The next thing I would do, because you're working in a little bit more niche markets,
yep,
is I would pull the brokers that sell in that area no matter what. There's not going to be a ton of them in that niche market actively producing. And I would send them a text message to each one of them. Say, hey, this is who I am. This is what we do. Because they're going to know a seller that's got to fix their property, even if that's not their bread and butter.
sure.
And start expanding that. In the niche markets, I really do like to text the brokers work in those active neighborhoods going, hey, if you got this, let me know. Like when I was looking for a lot of luxury stuff in Bellevue, the brokers I was texting were not your investment brokers. They were
Mhm.
not the brokers out grinding. They were all the luxury brokers because they had the biggest name and knew the most amount of people. And it's not really what they sell, anyways. And I'm actually going to go look at a property from one of them on Monday because they're like, this thing is gross. And I saw the photos. I'm like, this isn't gross.
Nice.
And so they just know so many people. I would do that in your niche market, especially for what you're doing. Um, you guys, the wholesaling is really just about you got to sift through tons of them and then find that person that's a good person that's really just trying to get a deal done, not trying to sell you a used car. And then spend time with them as far as like, hey, let's grab coffee. Let's go. How can we work together? What can I do to help you get your deals done? Or what can I do to help you get more deals done? And instead of asking them for deals, what can I do to help is a great way to get more deal flow.
Awesome.
I would say the last 3 deals I did were just like what I talked about with Jason, where I got inside the deal with them. I helped them. This one wholesaler just made 250 grand by me doing it. And he's like, I can't believe you're paying me this much. I'm like, no, dude, I told you my number. I helped you negotiate it. This guy will bring me every deal for the rest of his life. And because I got the deal with what I wanted it for. And he got the right seller and I gave him the right tips and came together.
Amazing. Cool. Keep trucking away. But
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for the feedback.
No, just keep grinding
It
it out.
works sometimes.
It works sometimes. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man.
Sometimes it's better than never. So, yeah. Ron and then Maya, I got your direct message. So, Ron, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey James, nice to see you. It's been a minute since I've been on one of these calls, so glad to circle back.
I know
Okay,
now I'm in your hood more, dude. We'll be doing some stuff down here.
that's what I hear. I'm
Yep,
just
I'm in Arcadia.
Oh, nice. That's a beautiful neighborhood. My daughter lives there. She loves it.
They got kids as Hopi?
I'm sorry?
Do they have kids in Hopi then?
No, she doesn't have any
Okay.
kids.
No, never mind then.
Yeah.
Very family friendly neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I have the Tempe flip that I think if you remember, I had put out back late last year.
Condo?
Yeah,
Yep. Okay.
still on the market, and I'm just having a hard time moving it because I'm such a niche place. Um, I'm working with a fantastic realtor. She's doing like really, I think she's doing everything she can to keep this thing moving. And we've lowered the price quite a bit and we've gotten some traffic and then it just stops. We've had a couple offers on it that were like seller finance type offers that wouldn't work for us. And then we had one cash offer that was just ridiculously just insulting. And um, and I'm just trying to figure out something else, some other strategy. So I guess I'm just looking for if you might have some insights, some other suggestions that would help try to get this thing moving along. Now, we've also looked at the option of trying to rent it too, but DSCR won't help because the value is too high versus what we'd have to pay for a mortgage. So in other words, DSR value is below 1. So not even at 0.75.
Okay. Because you got HOA dues and everything else that are beating that up.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a little rundown on this condo because I remember what's the price? What's it listed at right now? Because I do know I've been watching it. Arizona has been slowing like
Yep.
crazy. It's one of the hottest markets in the market. And then I've been really digging through neighborhoods, going, what's selling, what's not selling. What price point's it in?
It's now at 599.9.
Okay, so a little bit more expensive for a condo, but it's Tempe. What is the last sale in that building?
When you mean before my business partner and I bought it?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it was trying to remember. It was years ago. Back then, that one was she had bought it for just around 400,000 or under 400,000.
Okay, and then there's just been no sales in this building.
There has been. The unit right next door to mine sold, but that one's a little better because so in my unit it has a very large vaulted open ceiling or family room, and the unit next door they had theirs basically built in, so they got an extra bedroom and extra spare room out of it. So they were able to market it as a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with an office space. So
it had like a little loft, or is it an actual second story?
it's an actual second floor that has that other bedroom and office space.
So it is more square footage then?
Yeah. Technically, yeah, it's a little bit more square footage, but not much more.
What did that sell for?
630.
Okay, 630.
Yeah,
How much bigger was that one than yours?
not much.
Okay. So
It's
it's
killing
more.
me. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would think your product would almost be a little bit better for Arizona with transition down, bigger. So you got vaulted ceilings, same finish package throughout. When
Pretty
did
much.
that one trade? The one next door?
About a month ago. No, actually, yeah, about a month or two ago.
Okay, and how long was that one on market for?
Less time than mine. That was probably, I'm going to say, like 90 days.
Okay. And did it sell for full list?
No, they started at 660.
Okay. Okay, so you don't seem that bad on price. And then the difference is your 2-bedroom and they were a 3.
Yeah. Well, 3 and an office space.
Okay. But the square footage is about the same.
About the same. Yeah. Theirs is a little bit more, I believe, by maybe less than 100 square feet.
Okay. What? Because how long have you been on market now for?
Oh gosh, it's been over 6 months.
Okay, so that's long. Okay. Um, I'm gonna just look at something real quick. Rob, what's the address?
6411 South River Drive,
Yeah, that's funny. It popped right up in my Google.
number 10.
Number 10. Okay. And when you guys bought it, you said there just wasn't a lot of comps in general, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you guys, this is the stuff that is tough, right? Sometimes comps are low on data and it's like
So that unit directly to the left of it, that whether it has that two, yep, that's the one. That's the one that just sold not too long ago, like within the last couple months. That's number 11, I believe.
okay. And do you have a balcony on yours too?
Yeah, see where that sign is above the garage?
Yep.
Yep, that's the balcony.
Oh yeah,
That
right
is
there. Okay.
that one is attached directly to the non-primary bedroom.
Okay. Oh, big unit, 2,500 square feet. Jeez. Okay. Let's look at the one next door real quick. Who's your broker on this?
Her name is Sarah Jessup.
Okay. Why does her name sound familiar? Sarah Jeff. Is she a investor broker?
No, she is a um, regular broker.
Okay.
Doing very well for herself, which I'm very happy for her.
So 660. Okay, so what was the sold comp? Do you don't have the link to that? Sometimes it's a little finicky.
So
Oh, sold. Here we go.
sorry.
Where's his map? Shoot. Can you give me the address one more time?
6411 South River Drive. I think it was the unit 11.
It should give me 10, maybe?
No, that one's mine.
Okay, got it. Yep. All right. So one thing, guys, as we're bringing in properties, if you ever want to look at them, what is helpful is we just have the links we can throw in so I can fire them up real quick too. Um, just because people are starting to bring in more and more properties, which is great. It just can eat up time. And so I just want to be able to, and Ron, that has nothing to do with what you're doing right now. It's just, it's starting to, I'm like, all right, guys, we'll have to get through these a little quicker on these calls sometimes. Okay. Do this.
I put the link in there for you for the unit next door.
Perfect. Even better. There we go.
Oh man, not even. So 10 square feet.
So yours has the vaulted. Okay, so they bought it based on bed bath count for sure. Because good news is we have a pretty recent comp and it's a similar square footage. So now we need to figure out what the objection was. And so this is what I want to do. I want your broker to call this. Oh, so it's pending right now. It's not closed. Doesn't help that they said motivated sellers. Has your broker called to see what they're actually pending at?
I can ask her.
Okay, so we got to dig into this comp a little bit because the good thing is it's going to set our benchmark because there's a lack of data, but we have this one. It looks like it's very similar condition. You know, yours is a little bit more updated than theirs. The one thing I'm seeing is we don't know what this is actually pending at. And when they're advertising motivated sellers, we don't know if it's 500, 550, 575, right? And so, or they could have took that low cash offer for all we know. And so let's find out what they're pending at. And then also who's buying the property? Is it a family? Is it, because then that tells us whether the bed bath count is. The good thing is we have square footage to where we might be able to do something minor in there and add that extra space for people that is needed for that price point, because that's telling us who our demographic is that's going to buy that. In my opinion, that price point, that location, I would think your vaulted ceilings, that's a better layout because a lot of that's transition down buyers anyways, and it feels better, especially in the sun, right? Nice tall ceilings. But that's our comp that we got to work off right now to sell. And so we got to dig into that. And so can you have your broker call them, find out what they're pending at? Is there any closing costs being paid? And who the buyer is demographically. Is it someone in their 20s, 30s, 40s? If it's someone in their 50s, I'm going to be like, all right, well, I don't know if we need to really adjust the floor plan. But there might be a way for us to make shift in an affordable way, an extra space to give that to them. Because we have the square footage to work off of. It's a matter of layout. Or it could just be price. You never know. Maybe they took 550.
Okay.
And so that's going to give us the direction on what we need to do. If it's close to your list price, then we go, okay, well, let's just tweak our floor plan a little bit. And I can go through that with you. Like we can look at it. I'm like, this is what I would do here. That's going to be very cost effective to get that bed count up.
Okay.
So it starts with that. Let's start taking apart that comp.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Yep. No, for sure. And in Ron, I do know Arizona has slowed down quite a bit. I'm watching it. And you guys, this is what we're gonna go through: ups and downs, right? Or it's definitely has cooled, especially, but not as much in that market. The high end's getting hammered here. I would not want to be a luxury flipper right now in Scottsdale.
I have one in Fountain Hills I'm working on now too.
What's the price point on that one?
That one is going to be, it's still the rehab's being finished up on that one, and so that one will be back on the market hopefully May for sure at 1.3.
Oh, that's good though. That's a good price point in Arizona. I'm seeing like the 4 to when you're in that 4 or 5 mil, 10 mil, I'm seeing some people take some beatings right now. Actually, $1 million, $1.5 million seems like the sweet spot.
Yeah, oddly enough, that's one of the ones that those are those price points that have survived the winter and all the holidays. And like I go to Azria monthly meetings and they talk about and they bring in someone that talks about all what the Phoenix market is doing, and that is one of the trends that has not like dipped like a lot.
It's the sweet spot for affordability, right? Because it's like dual income earners can afford that. It does really well in Seattle too. 1.2 to 1.5.
So interesting. Okay.
So
great.
Yeah, and you guys, as we start going through a little bit of market changes, if we do, I don't know if we will or not, we'll be doing some educating about how to reduce risk through tracking data and buyer demographic and the areas we want to focus on. Because it's not really location, it's price points in areas that can make it through any kind of weird transition. But it's not the greatest time to be selling something right now, but that doesn't mean we're not selling. I got 4 on market, but we just have to take logical steps through it. So first thing is, let's dissect that comp.
Right.
And if they don't give your broker the information for whatever, message me, I'll call the broker and act like I'm a buyer.
Awesome. I will let
you know. Hey, would you write up the one next door for me? Can you tell me what they're paying on this one? And I'll get it out of them.
Wonderful. Thank you, James. Appreciate your help.
Yep. Maya.
Hey, James. I just wanted to introduce myself. I just signed on and today.
Oh, today? Welcome.
Yeah.
We'll be doing an intro call too, by the way.
Yeah.
We just did our intro calls today with some people, so we just missed it, but that's all right.
That's okay. So I am closing on a project tomorrow.
Congratulations. Oh, you're getting right into it. Where we're at?
Wolfsburg.
Okay. All right.
So I have interviewed a couple GCs and also, taken some estimates from different vendors, like the roofer, the plumber, um, just other people. So, what can you tell me? What are the things that I always have had trouble with? This is my very first flip.
Okay.
I have done a lot of rehabs, um,
On like rental
and
properties?
rental
Okay.
properties. And I've done a complete haul too, but we are living in that. But those are all a little more forgiving than doing a flip. And all the points that I had some kind of hesitation with, you already talked about the market right now. Is this the time to take up my first flip? But it's already there. Now, that's not the question I want to ask. What I want to move forward in other ways. So how can you help me? What can you tell me? One of the things with the contractors is they want upfront money.
Yes. They're gonna to get going.
To get going. It kind of makes sense. I mean, they're not huge, big contractors because it's a small project. But so I can't hire a huge contractor. And so they don't have their seed money. They can't finance my flip. In other words, that's what they said. So, but I mean, they were not way out of, they made sense to me. So, just give me some ideas where to start with and how do I do. These are all the homework I've done so far.
Almost every contractor that we're going to hire is going to need a deposit up front.
Yes.
The expensive guys don't need it, but then we can't make it work right with them. And so what we want to do is a controlled draw schedule of, okay, well, we just don't want to, where we get in risk is if we over advance on the project because, there's risk in giving them the cash. And so first thing I do is I give 10% down as we get through demo and demo's done and get that ready to go. And then I'll issue them another 10% once they start getting ready to do like some framing, plumbing, electrical, and windows or whatever they need to do. But we want to do it based on percentage of completion so you don't get too far out. So their bids, they should be itemized out at least where, not lump sum. And based on that dollar amount, let's say the project's $100,000 and you're giving them 10% down, so 10 grand down to get going, and then to start with the prelim framing. Now, once they get into electric, plumbing, and HVAC or the rough ends, you can add up the total amount for, basically as they go through, you do a percentage of, right? So if plumbing's at 10,000 and electrical's at 10,000 and HVAC's at 10,000. Well, I can give them 50% down on those items to get them going to rough in. And then once they're done with rough ends, we'll pay them more. So, I mean, typically with my draws, I'm doing 10%, 20%, 20%, 20%, final 10%. Now, if they start asking me how I check it for when they do a request, is I take the bids and go, well, percentage of completion. So if plumbing's at 50%, electrical's at 50%, HVAC's 50%, windows are 100%, demo's 100%. I can add up their bid and go, well, hey guys, I've already paid you 50,000. You've only completed 30,000 in work. I'm okay giving you more money up front, but I need you to get to 40,000. Then I'll give it to you. We just don't want to get you're always going to be in front of them a little bit. We just don't want it too big.
Okay.
And so do percentage of completed work. And the one thing is, Maya, too, you can always tell them that's how your lender requires it too.
Well, lender requires requires, lender is not going to pay ahead of time.
Call
Lender,
interest funding, they will.
oh, I'm not using interest.
It depends on the lender, and interest will do advanced draws.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
they'll actually give you 20% up front when you close.
Oh, really?
Yep. But it depends on the
So
lender and
that's good to
whoever.
know. That's good to know, but interest, yeah, I'll have to weigh in on that. Which is a better deal because interest rates are higher
Yep. Yeah,
in interest. So
interest is like true
I'm
hard
getting
money.
lower rates. So
Yeah, and that's always based on liquidity, right? Like if you have the cash to advance it and move it around, then sometimes it's good to go with a lower rate. It's, it's a matter of liquidity at that point too. And so, but don't use interest because I said use interest. It's a matter of what works best for your scenario, right? And so it's you're going to have to come out of pocket on that. And then, because now what you're going to do is submit for reimbursement to the other lender, and they're going to have a third party check that for you. And so that's okay. That's just the process you're working with, but they could slow down your so just tell, would the best person to blame to the contractors if they want more money, like, sorry, the lender says you got to get here before I can give you another check.
okay. And in general, what else can you tell me? How can I proceed with this? So I'm buying for 200. The market there, the comps there is pretty wide. 315 to 415 is the comp. So what I need to, first I thought I'm going to put in just 40 and be done with it, but I can't do that now because if I want a higher ARV, I have to go higher. So I'm looking at 60 to 70 right now in rehab.
Okay, what is it worth if you put 40 in?
I'm just nervous that the ARV is going to come down, and there's already slow market, and then I'm going into summer, so all these kind of things.
Yeah, and those are definitely conscious to be but what's the big range in is it based on bedroom and bathrooms, or because that's a big swing, it will come down to condition. Like if they're renovated, they're not going to be usually like $100,000 swing in that price point. It's going to come down to like garages, bathrooms, and a couple other amenities. Like, so in that comp, you said 350 to 440, is that right?
415.
415. What's the difference between the 415 and the 350? Is it bedrooms or bathrooms, or is it just finishes?
No. I kept the bedrooms and bathrooms the same. The lot as the same, but just the way it's being renovated.
Okay, like one maybe looks like a rental and one looks really nice.
Right.
Okay. And so what we want to do to pick that choice is, to make it look like a rental, there's going to be a $40,000 budget. And then to make it look really nice, you said it's going to be 65?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I need to change the kitchen. I need to break the wall, and the kitchen is very small here. It's the same square footage kitchens, higher comps are pretty big.
Okay.
In the sense they have more cabinets, more counter space, and there's no dishwasher here. So I need to add a space for a dishwasher. So which means the layout of the kitchen should be completely changed.
And so what we want to do, and I'm going to show you something real quick, is because there's two different ways you can do this deal. And we want to use the Performa. And you guys, this is the same Performa that you guys have in with Project RE. It's just kind of broken up differently. But what we want to do is what's highest and best for return. And so if you're paying 200,000 and you can put 40,000 in, and you can sell it for 350,000.
Doubtful. 325 maybe. I said
Okay, so it
350.
definitely makes sense to
Yeah, I'm sorry. I said 315, not 350.
oh, 315.
Yeah,
Okay. So if you put 40 in, it's 315,
that's
which is 29. But if you put in, let's say 70 and make it really nice, and it can sell for, let's say even 399, a little bit less than that
yeah,
other comp.
yeah,
You're going to look at, yeah, the profit is substantially higher
right.
and the return is. And so, in my opinion, making it nicer and being able, that's what's going to get you that premium, but also it's going to make it very sellable when the market slows down. And just so you know, the market isn't like the deals I was saying that were enlisted a little bit. I just got an offer on one as we're on the call. So things are still selling. It just takes a little bit longer. What's going to help sell it quicker is just somewhere someone falls in love real quick with the property. And that's with all the right finishes because the monthly mortgage payment between 350 and 399 is very minimum on most people, and they're going to go for the nice. So I would go with the nicer, better plan and spend more money because it's a lot safer. There's a lot more profit to go with too. Even if it goes down to 375, you're still making more than you would if you did the quick one.
Right,
And
right.
so, I mean, great news is I'm loving that you found a great deal, but also that you really looked at the comps and go, I need to do this based on this price.
Oh, of course.
And so you're doing the right scope of work. I would go with the nicer finishes. And sometimes when the market leans in, we make them even nicer because it makes our house sell faster. And we
Right.
might not make any more on the sale price, but it sells quicker. And so I would go with the better plan.
The one of the things that's going for me is there are absolutely no homes for sale in that area.
And
So,
don't worry about the blanket, whether the market's slowing down or not. It all comes down to affordability and inventory.
and
And
I've heard everybody say that that's a very desirable area. So,
well, and it's also a price point that appeals to the masses in that area. And the stuff that's really slow right now is the stuff on the higher end of the price point,
right,
where,
right,
like in Seattle, if in Seattle 1.4 to 1.5 is the sweet spot, the
right,
1.7 is being really slow.
right.
And so it's not that there's not comps for it. It's just there's less buyers. In the fact that you're in that three, the good thing about 399 to 415, your FHA, your USDA loans, like all these loans qualify. So you want to play in traffic to get the mass amount of volume. And so you bought the right deal no matter what. And so, but what I would do as you're in your renovation, whoever's going to list your property, make them work for it and say, every I need to be put on anything that's going pending in the area, any actives, so you can see the pictures and what's going on. And it will tell you whether to change things up in the middle of your renovation. Like how nice do you make it? Maybe you make it a little bit less nice because something sold for higher and you can get done quicker. But you just want to stay in the market with the data because you've planned it right. You bought a good deal. You have two strategies. The strategy to sell it for more is the safest one. And I would lean into that plan.
So, James, now it's really hard to get the comps because there are no houses for sale. But I have to take the comps from Bremerton. I mean, it's a little bit, this is north of Silverdale, Central Valley, Paulsbo, and absolutely, there are nothing for sale over there.
Okay, so what I want your broker to do is I want them to go back 15 months on comps.
We did go for 2 years.
2
And
years.
there are 2 years, and there are 2 properties in 2 years.
Okay, so you're rural then. Let me see. And did your hard money, I'm guessing your hard money lender got an appraisal.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. But they're doing okay.
Yeah, they don't think, but yeah, I have had a discussion with them too,
What's
and
the
they don't
address?
think it's a problem.
What's the address? Let me see.
60 Northwest Island Lake Road, Island Lake Parkway, Holdsville.
60 Northwest Island Lake Parkway.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. This is Seta. I live in Bremerton and I also invest here. Do you live in Kitsap County?
No.
Okay, so I will let you know that address is actually borders Silverdale. It should. Island Lake Parkway, I believe it's.
Yes, it's very close to.
So I would take
Silverdale, but the address is Holdsville.
Yep. So I would take comps from Island Lake area. There's tons of houses that sell in that area.
It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 825 square foot.
Yeah, but I would look at Silverdale or that's
yes. I mean, there's none. 2-bedroom, 1-bath.
Yeah, that square footage and such is usually found in Bremerton, not so much Silverdale or Polk.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 257, 325. And just so everyone on the call, we're getting 2.5, which is no problem. But I do have a Suns playoff baseball game that I do need to be at 7 tonight, or I'm in deep trouble with my wife. So I can't go more. I can't go more than 3 tonight.
I'm sorry if I'm.
Oh no, you're totally good. It's I'm just more curious right now because there's always a way to find a comp. And what Seta just said is great, right? That's what we're looking for is where's a similar area or a lesser area that we can pull comps from. So what we do when we go out in comps, we go back, but then also comp into less desirable areas because sometimes there's a lot of flips going on and I can feel pretty comfortable with my ARV when I'm doing that. So we got, let's pull up here. We're just gonna go a little wide. Let's see what's going on. That's a duplex, so we don't want that.
I think your best bet, I'm just off the cuff here, is the numbers you said. Island Lake, where the Island Lake camp used to be, which I don't know if you can even see it on the map. It was recently sold to like a large development company out of Florida. They're going to be building like 300 some homes there. It's going to bring down the value of a lot of the homes in that area. And anyone who owns a home in that area is well aware of that right now that they're under contract for that. So I think your ARV of like 325 is probably right on.
Well, here's this one here, and so this backs up to a freeway. So in theory, I'd want your broker to go drive this one, Maya, because we want to get them, whoever's going to list it needs to go take a look. But this one here at least backs up to a freeway, so it's going to be noisier. It's a little bit different zone, but not too crazy on the difference. That is Silver Lake more. But this one here sold as a flip. I cleaned up flip, nothing too crazy, but clean. And this got 392.
And mine will be much, much better than this.
Yeah, and what we have to do is go, is this worth more in this area? And so the thing I like about that comp is it does back up to a freeway, so it's going to be a little bit of a negative impact there. And that sold. And what Seta just also brought up is also really good information to know. The good thing is they got to build the houses, so they're a little ways down the road. But that's very good to know. That market, good. Seta, good job on researching that market. That's good to stay clear.
Yeah, that was wonderful information. Who told me that? I'm sorry.
Oh, me, Seta. Yeah, I live in Bremerton and I actually have a townhouse in the Island Lake area, so I keep up on what's going on over there. But that yeah, there's a big developer that's bought where the camp used to be. It's caused a huge issue for a lot of homeowners in the area. Anyway, it's gonna be, I would like try to it's something that it's gonna drive traffic up in that area and then bring all of the values of the homes down.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I mean, you have this one at 407. Again, it's a little bit different area. Bremerton address here. That's at 407. Then we have 380. So then let's go. So down that way, selling pretty solid there. So then I'm going to go up.
there's one, yeah, but in your bigger one, there's currently one listed for 515, but it has a little bit more than what I have, a little bit more land.
So you guys, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of interpreting the numbers, right? It is in
But why did you
Washington.
go for 1,200 square foot, James?
Say again?
Why did you go for higher square footage?
Just see if there's anything closer to us, and then we can make some adjustment on price per square foot too.
Oh,
So
is that okay?
just kind of doing it to kind of massage the numbers because I want to see also, can this area get in that? I don't know this zone here, so it's like what I do know is if you're down in this area, you're gonna hit that 400 number. This is a little bit different. It's not terribly far away, but I like this comp right here, which is a two bed, two bath, 1,100 square feet that sold for 404.
Oh, when
Because
was it sold?
it's a little bit newer though. Um, and so I'm looking at this to kind of interpret, but it is a townhome.
Yeah, that.
So that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable right there because I'm going, okay, a townhome, a little bit bigger, same bed bath count, that traded at 404. Because I'm looking at affordability and what people are getting. And so then you got 625, that's a different type of product. And then everything in our local little spot here, you're at 3.25. 3.25 is not overly nice. I think 400 might be a little aggressive on the number.
Yeah,
And, but what I do know is the numbers work pretty well at even 375, you're making more money than a light turn and going to. And I
right.
do feel like that's in the affordability pocket. I like this comp here. I don't know the neighborhood. So I don't know how rough or not rough it is. Um,
Oh, it's not rough at all. It's pretty decent.
and so what I would do is have your broker who's selling it, I want them to go drive this one that backs up to the freeway too, because that's sold for 400 over here. And I don't know how good of a location this is. It's a different city, but this also could not be that great of a location. And that's sold for 400 backing up to the freeway.
But there's a huge mall over there.
Yeah, but the reason I want your broker to drive it is how bad is the freeway noise? Because that could knock 10% off the value right there. And then maybe that house is supposed to be worth 430. And then if my location's worth 10 to 20% less, then I'm still going to be in that 375 range.
Okay.
And so part of this is just interpreting what we have, right? Because there is a lack of data. And then, or like what Seta said, going into a different area that's like, well, this is not quite as good. Like here's one in Silverdale, 1,000 square feet. That's a big lot. Really big lot. So we don't want to use that one. And so we have to kind of so what I want to know is, does my neighborhood feel a lot better? What is the schools against that comp? Are my similar school district, does it feel better? And would a buyer float over this way? In my opinion, and I don't know the area, but I'd like to be closer to the lake than a freeway. And so it's, we just have to kind of interpret what we have on the comps and make adjustments based on location. Your broker, whoever's selling this for you needs to understand Silverdale and Poulsbo and what the difference is. Like if I'm looking in Bothell versus Kenmore, I can say, well, this is a 10% difference between these two cities right here. And so even if I'm pulling a comp from Bothell, I can adjust down in Kenmore.
Okay.
And so
Got
that's
it.
what we got to adjust down because there's no data behind that. But from what I'm seeing, I think you would be able to hit that. Even at 350, the deal works fine, but it's not a home run, but there's a chance that you could hit that 375 number.
Yeah, I think for 350, I'll have to go for the higher rehab.
Yeah, and this one is sold for 3.25 too. This is also an octagon house, which isn't the most desirable property. See the roof line here?
Right.
So this is not usually what people are gravitating towards. It's a little bit funky of a layout. It's not all the way done. So if yours is a lot nicer too, will someone pay 10% more, 15% more? Most likely. And that would put you at that's going to put you at 350, 360 on this property.
Yeah, mine will be just one level, so it can be accessible. Accessibility will be, I think that's one of the marketable terms that we can use.
Yeah, it's just about, and I think you're going to be giving out a good product too. So, and you're in the affordability range. There's nothing for sale. I would definitely make it a little nicer though, especially if it's a delta of only 20 grand on your rehab.
Right. Right. Well, thank you. Anything else I need to look into?
No, one thing I would say too on the draw, ask your lender how they do their draws. Do they have a draw schedule? Because it's always good to
Yeah.
match your draw schedule with your contractor with them, and you're still gonna have to advance them, but get them on the same matching so it makes it easier when you get your draws.
All right.
Well, hopefully you like this first call.
Well, hopefully I like this first flip, so I can move forward.
Yo, it's I mean, it looks like I think it looks like a fairly safe deal. I do think. Do you have a listing broker in the area?
Yeah, well, this was an off-market
Okay.
property.
So it came with
The
a list back.
person, yeah,
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, just, I would have them explain it a little bit too if they're listing it. Like, hey, what do you think? There's no comps. What is this going to affect? Is this worth more here, less here than over here? And they should be able to kind of break that down. I'm guessing since they have the list back, they put a value on it. And so, they should be able to kind of break that down for you, especially if they're the broker too, like how they made their adjustments. But I'm thinking you're looking okay on that for sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my first dip on just flipping, so I can start doing that a little bit more because bursts are not working anymore.
Yeah. Well, cool. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, guys. Well, I think we've gotten through the questions from what I'm seeing. And I got to get to my son's baseball game. His playoffs just started. But I think I got through all the questions. And all right, guys. Well, I will see you guys next Tuesday. And we're gonna be talking more about deal flow and tracking things down. So I will see you guys next week.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
Sarah.
See you guys.